Wow, look at that. Maybe they updated it so when I press it, it works the first time.
Maybe. Hello and welcome back to the Second and Two podcast. I'm your host, TB. I've got my co-host, producer extraordinaire, expert March Madness picker. It's Jody.
Far from
What
that.
up, Joe? What up? What up? What up, dog?
What's up? I mean, I don't think there's any experts at March Madness picking. That's like if that happens, like it's chalked up to something different. You got the dog shooting basketballs and random trash cans. You got fish eating food on one side of their tank compared to the other. Like I don't. Those are all
We
flukes. Nothing. It's never gonna happen, bro.
We are coming to you live in the middle of March here on Sunday, and we have half of the Sweet 16 already determined, the other half to be determined today. So that is the
Crazy.
biggest
It moves
event.
that fast. The first 4 days,
It
it's like,
does.
yep, half the people are gone.
Whittles it down to from 64 to 16, or really from 68 to 16 pretty quickly.
Yeah, the play-in tourney nowadays is also crazy for that.
Some good games, man. Shout out Nebraska Vanderbilt. Shout out Wisconsin High Point. Shout out Arkansas High Point. Some good games. You know, some upsets. Texas beat Gonzaga yesterday. Hurt my bracket. You know, so Texas as an 11 seed in the Sweet 16. The Big Ten looking good so far. They already got 4 teams in the Big Ten from the Big Ten in the Sweet 16. Of course, Michigan Wolverines in there, right?
Yeah.
Michigan State, Illinois, Nebraska, all in there. And Purdue is playing Miami right now as we speak. Good game in the second half. Last I looked, Miami had a 1-point lead. So, you know, good times. Also, you know, before we get really rolling here, shout out right here, dude. Luka Doncic and the Lakers, Austin Reeves, Luke Kennard, LeBron James on a 9-game heater right now. Beaten everybody in the West, all right? The Rockets twice, the Timberwolves, the Nuggets. They beat the Heat the other day. They beat the Magic yesterday on a Luke Kennard buzzer-beating 3, game they had no business winning. Also, Luka, MVP favorite in my eyes. Guy had 100 points in 24 hours the other day. So,
that's crazy.
Yeah, went off for 40 against Houston and then came back the next night, less than 24 hours later, and had 60 against Miami. So, also, LeBron James, dude, guy's just phenomenal right now.
Hello, random.
Embrace.
You know who was at that Miami game?
Who's that?
Ashley Person.
Huh. Shout out her. But she had fun. Good game. Fun one. Luka, insane.
Luka 60 is kind of crazy.
I'm telling you, dude, JJ Redick, he's got this team bought in. They're looking good. It's probably, I was thinking about this, I was calibrating this with my dad the other day. It's probably the best I felt about a Lakers team since the 2020 bubble.
Since COVID?
Since the 2020 bubble championship team. You had the 22-23 year where they went to the Western Conference Finals as a 7 seed and got smoked by Denver. Yeah. You know, felt good about them last year after they got the Luka trade, but, you know, it was just, you knew the team was kind of weird, and they kind of got smoked by Minnesota in round 1. This team is just a little bit different. I'm not saying they're going to win the title. You know, I don't know if I'm ready to go that far, but I feel like they should win a series or 2 in the West this year, and who knows, maybe, you know, maybe they can give OKC a run. We'll see, or San Antonio for that matter. We'll see. But
is top of that list.
The Spurs are gonna be tough. OKC is gonna be tough. But anybody else in the West right now, I feel like the Lakers can beat. So we'll see. But anyway, we've got some really good stuff to get to outside of basketball today. We're talking football. We're ready. The NFL draft is a month away, and we've talked quarterbacks. You know, everyone loves to hear about the quarterbacks. We talked quarterbacks last month. This month, we're just kind of looking at the big board, and we're saying, what's our top 12? You know, outside of the quarterbacks, who are our top 12 guys at all the other positions? And we're going to go through that today. We've got 12 big-name prospects for you that we're going to evaluate, and we're going to rank. These are our top 12 guys as we go. Not necessarily revealed in order. We'll reveal those orders, you know, kind of at the end of it. Jody and I both have different rankings here, but we like these guys as kind of our top 12 on the big board. Maybe some surprises, some guys that you feel like should be on there who just missed out, some guys who you're wondering how they made it in that top 12. You're like, that guy's 25th on my board, whatever. These are our guys, right? This is football players based on the tape that we like in the top 12 of the draft, not necessarily the guys who will get taken top 12. So now I'm excited to look at each of these guys, Jody.
That's funny. I thought that was you foreshadowing, like, oh, this guy Jody, his list is all crazy. Like he doesn't make no sense what he's doing here.
Nah, dude, I think some people would think that about my list in previous years, and there's guys that we've hit on and guys that we've also missed on a little bit, or maybe they took a longer year to develop. A guy that comes off the top of my head right now that I loved a couple years ago. Which one? Who are you thinking of?
Simpson, Trent. I don't know. I don't even think that's his name.
Simpson. Yeah, took a while to hit, but now he played a bigger role for the Ravens last year. Or the guy I was thinking of was Tyrese Knight out of UTEP, the linebacker. Played a big role on a championship team last year for the Seahawks. I loved him. He wasn't drafted until. Yeah, dude, we liked him. He was my fifth linebacker on my board that year, and he ended up, I think, in the 5th round to Seattle and was a major contributor this year. But then the flip side of that is you have guys like I loved Ben Sinnott, the fullback dude from K-State.
He went to Washington or something.
He's been in Washington and hasn't really done much. I was like, he's going to be Kyle Juszczyk, and he just hasn't really done that much there. So there's just, there's guys that you love that turn out okay. But you know what? You still hold out hope until like year 3 or 4. You don't give up. You're just like, maybe it's just the guy needs a right scheme, needs to develop a little bit, whatever. So there's still some guys I'm holding on hope for. But for the most part, Sam Darnold took like 8 years, but he figured it out eventually. So, all right. So let's go to our first guy here. Jody, who do we have?
All right. First guy we're taking a look at today is Mansoor Delane, plays corner for LSU. Did some years at Virginia Tech. He's 5'11", 187 pounds. I'm assuming that's 4 years of college. I don't like doing math with these things. You got to count the first one every time. He has a 40 time of a 4.44. He's played for 44 games, man. Angel numbers right there. He's a big 4 guy.
Is this his number, by the way?
No, 44 or just 4?
Just 4. It's hilarious,
he
actually.
Probably got it tattooed on him somewhere. Maybe his favorite album is Jay-Z.
He said, I could have written 4.3, but I wanted it to be 4.4 because that's my number.
That's what I'm saying. I did that 1.11 times over. You know what I mean? Let's see where we at. 191 tackles during that span. 7 tackles for loss. 8 picks. We got 41 pass breakups. Funny thing about the pass breakups, I wrote that down for another dude we're looking at later, and I was like, what is P-Bus? I was like, how is this going to help me remember what he's good at? And then I was like watching the film all over again, and I was like, oh, pass breakups. I was like, let me capitalize these letters so I remember. And then rounding off his stats, he's got 4 forced fumbles.
So Mansoor Delane, out of LSU, a lot of people's top corner in the draft. He's also my top corner in the draft.
I did like him a lot.
He's a stud. I think the first thing that stands out when you watch him, whether it's at LSU or at Vatech, the thing that translated in both places when you watch tape, scheme versatility, man. You see so much ability and a versatility in Delane's game. When you watch tape, he can play in every kind of scheme from, being a press man cover guy to like an off cover 3 corner and kind of trying to time up breaks and routes. And he can play with eyes inside and break on the ball. He can be in that hip pocket and, play through the guy's hands of the man in front of him. I mean, that's super valuable in today's NFL. You start thinking about some of the better corners. It used to be like guys were, everyone valued like the guys who could just say, all right, go play man coverage and you take away half the field. And it's just not really that way anymore. You want guys to be able to do that, but you also want guys who can change it up because offenses are too good that if you live in one thing, they're gonna find a way to pick you apart now. There's answers built into everything. And so teams, the best guys, you think about like Derek Stingley, guys like that, like they can do more than just go play man on an island, right? They can do other stuff. So, I think that versatility in terms of scheme is going to be something very valuable to whoever drafts him or teams scouting him. That's going to be a thing that just stands out first and foremost. Secondly, the ball skills, man. I think one of the first plays I watched from him from Va Tech, he was in man coverage. Ball kind of gets thrown, linebacker or safety, I can't remember, was covering another guy kind of in the area, tips the ball up, and he just sees the ball in the air, finds a way to catch it and get both feet in bounds, and it's a takeaway going the other way. And it wasn't even, it's just like the kind of play where you're like, man, corners don't make that play a whole lot.
Yeah,
He's been a ball hawk his entire college career. Makes plays when the ball's in the air near him. Great hand-eye coordination is just very apparent. And he makes plays, like I said, that normally you're thinking like receivers make, like toe tapping plays on the sideline, catches over the shoulder, diving catches. Like he's a ball hawk. He makes plays on the ball. A guy who could probably play receiver if you really wanted him to, because he's got that good of hands and hand-eye coordination. That's why he ended up with 8 picks in college. And so he does a good job there of taking advantage of those opportunities when the ball is in the air near him. And then the last thing, great eye discipline. It's an underrated part of playing corner. We talked about this before when we evaluated prospects, but that's something that I value a lot when I watch guys is, if they're in zone, are they looking at the combinations in front of them, getting eyes back to the quarterback, making breaks on the ball? If they're in man, are they right in that hip pocket? They're looking at their man. Are they being disciplined, not trying to look back at the quarterback and then giving up plays that they shouldn't? It's a big part of what allows him to make so many plays on the ball is that generally he does a very good job of seeing plays before they happen, and making his play within the scheme of the defense, right? Not trying to do extra necessarily, but making the play that he knows is his to make, and then being athletic enough, obviously, and we talked about the ball skills and all of that to actually make those plays when they show up. But the eye discipline, really important trait for a corner, who can do all the things that he can do. He does a great job. Even if he's in man coverage, he gets those eyes back, makes plays on the ball. So that's a big part of the package with Mansoor Delane. That's why I think most people have him rated as the top cover corner in this draft, because he can do probably whatever that defensive coordinator is going to ask him to do.
Yeah, a couple of things I saw too. Like, one of them was the hand fighting kind of ties in with your ball skills. Like, he was not just leading up to the pass, but like once the ball got there, he was being able to get his hands up, like bat it down and whatnot. And I wrote down he was physical, which is kind of funny because it's coming up in your question right here. But it looked like he was like on top of everything with the dudes he was guarding. So the question I got for you is, excuse me, sorry. Can he be physical enough to play every down in the NFL, being that he's a little smaller than your typical NFL corner?
Which is crazy. You're saying that and you're like, man, 5'11", 187, if you're talking 15 years ago, that is like a bigger NFL corner. Nowadays, it's like, man, everyone loves the like 6'2", 200-pound corner because it helps you match up with all the different receivers. And it used to just be that when you were 6'2", 200 pounds, you were a safety, for the most part.
That's what that
because
translated to me. Is like he's just put him back there and he could play wherever he wants. He can be physical. He can make all plays.
NFL teams would put that kind of guy at safety, and then everything changed, right? I mean, everyone kind of talks about this, but the evolution of football, things change as you go, and like the Seahawks and their scheme with Brandon Browner and Richard Sherman sort of made the big corner really popular. The big physical corner who was open hipped enough to really play corner, but big enough to match up with those receivers and like tackle on the perimeter and let you sit in that cover 3 shell and just be able to kind of be long and play everything. And nowadays, that's kind of what's in vogue. And now the 5'11", 190 corner is like, he's kind of small, slighter frame, and that's probably the biggest question with with Delane, but you know, I think you see a little bit of like, hey, we'd love him to be a better tackler, but that's, dude, 9 times out of 10, true cover corners, that's always kind of a thing that you're like, all right, they got to tackle, you know?
Yeah.
But I think he's physical enough. You know, you see it in press man coverage. Like you said, he plays physical with his hands. He moves his feet well. He has some physical tackles on the ball where you see he has 4 forced fumbles. That doesn't happen
Yeah,
by
true.
accident. He tackled guys 191 times. That's a lot of tackles for a corner in 3 years of college football. So, or 4 years of college football, whatever. And so I don't think that question is one that makes you say like, I don't know if a team should draft him because of that. I think that's just hey, if we're picking nits here, will he stay healthy? Will he tackle well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Those
that makes
kinds of
sense.
things. Sure, if there's going to be a deficiency, maybe that's the one. But man, it's hard to find one in his game, and it's a fair question. But it's like I said, it's pretty nitpicky. As far as what he'll end up doing for the defense that drafts him, I mean, I think he gives you, the defense coordinator that he plays for is going to have a high IQ, really versatile player, which is again increasingly valuable in today's NFL. You can say like, hey, you're going to be a shutdown dude, island guy, or you can be a zone guy. And if you can do both consistently, then we can disguise what we're doing. And that's extremely valuable because we can show press man, but then, and you even see this on tape sometimes. I think I saw a rep of it at Vaugh Tech. It might have been LSU. I can't remember now, but looked like he showed press man, and instead they were running kind of cover 2, and he got eyes inside, saw an out route, and he makes a play on the ball on the number 2 receiver running the out route because it looked like man to
Oh,
the quarterback, and he's taught, hey man, I like my matchup. I'm going to throw the out route, running away from inside inside leverage.
yeah.
Turns out there's a corner right there waiting on it, right? So you can do different things when you have a guy that's as versatile as him and can do all of it well and can kind of show and disguise. So that's extremely valuable. Brings to mind a guy the Rams just traded for, Trent McDuffie, drafted a few years ago in KC. Similar kind of scheme versatility. McDuffie has also been like a guy that people love talking about. He's played in the slot, played on the outside. I think you can get a little bit of that with Delane here. The big thing that McDuffie has done in the NFL is he tackles really well, beats blocks on the perimeter and tackles extremely well. So if Mansoor Delane can develop that way, then you're talking about Trent McDuffie is arguably worst 5th or 6th best corner in the league right now. So you're talking about a guy who could be a top 5 corner in the league if he can tackle the way that McDuffie tackles. So
Makes
it's a
sense.
high praise on the comp. Similar measurables, right? In terms of, I think McDuffie is also 5'11", 190, runs a 4.4, like very similar that way. And then very similar in terms of the eye discipline and the scheme versatility with what McDuffie can do. So Mansoor Delane, a guy that I think comps pretty well to Trent McDuffie.
Mine, I don't know, you might think it's a little lofty, but I was thinking keep Talib, although he looks a little more stocky than Delane does. Let me see. I was trying to pull that up real quick, see what his measurables are.
Keep to leave, if I remember right, is a little taller. Might have actually been, maybe not. I don't know. Talib, I want to say Talib was more like 6 foot, but it's close.
Of course, ESPN doesn't have that listed. That's lovely. Um,
Akib was, yeah. I think I can see some of the same some of the scheme versatility. Yeah, I
okay,
like
here we
it.
go. 6'1", 209.
Yeah. So Talib was a
Yeah,
little
a little
bigger,
bigger, like I thought. Yeah, yeah. I don't
20
know. That's
pounds
just what
heavier,
I
two
saw
inches
from him.
taller, but
Yeah.
yes, I don't think it's in terms of play style could be very similar. Talib was real physical, so that'll be the thing.
Mhm.
Um, right now, as far as where he's going to get picked, I haven't seen anything higher than 5th. He's a first round guy for sure. I haven't seen anything lower than like 15th, so he's right around in that 5 to 15 range. Is there a team that you like him to go to, maybe in that range, Jody?
I'm be honest. I don't know many people in that range, but you said it yourself. Trent McDuffie just landed there. Why not take him with that Rams first pick at like 8 or whatever?
13.
13.
I
There it is.
could, before trading for McDuffie and then also signing Jalen Watson in free agency, I could have seen the Rams doing this. Now, I don't know. Maybe that's still, like, if he got there and he's there, maybe you still take him. I do wonder if he'll actually be there. I think one of the teams that came to mind that I
I see a
liked.
better option right here
Who you
after
got?
pulling it up. Washington looked like a very solid spot
Yeah,
for
I like
not
Washington. I
hitting
also like.
on the guy that also just went to the Rams. But
I also Emmanuel Forbes. Yeah. I also like. I thought Dallas at 12 could be a decent landing spot for him, just because they're kind of transitioning defensive schemes here. They could
mhm.
use. They moved on um, from their guy Diggs during the end of this last season, so wouldn't be a bad spot for him there, just because they could do a whole lot with him. Um, there's a few different places, but I think I wouldn't mind seeing him in Dallas. I wouldn't mind seeing him in Washington. Those are two, yeah, both of those would be good
Kansas
spots for him.
City, they're at 9. That seems I
Kansas
think
City,
them or Bengals
just
are very
traded
possible.
McDuffie. They just traded McDuffie, who I
Yeah.
comped them to, so you could just give Spagnuolo a new McDuffie, a younger one, and say, let's run it back. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely a possibility. So that's why I say that he may not be at 13 when the Rams get to pick, because there
Yeah.
are a few teams ahead of him that ahead of them that could take this kid, and
Well,
I think he'd
even
be a
I
good
said
fit.
they were at 8, so that shows you how off I was anyways. Like, I think he's going pretty early.
Yeah, yeah. Um, all right, so flip it over. Other side of the ball here. Who we got next?
We got Carnell Tate, played receiver at Ohio State, the Ohio State. He sits
Oh
at
God.
6'2", 192. He's a junior. He played 3 years. He ran a 4.53 in his combine number with a 1.61 on his split. We got 39 games played there, 165 targets, 121 receptions. If you ask me, that's around 75%. Don't quote me. We got 1,872 yards. He's got 15 and a half yards per reception average, and then he had 14 touchdowns.
Carnell Tate, man. The first thing that jumped out on the film, like, I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked he ran 4.53, because the first time you see it on the film, and what's funny is nowadays, dude, 4.53 feels slow. 4.53,
Yeah,
by
which
the
is
way,
crazy. That's like
not
a
slow.
DN's running that, which is crazy to
4.53
think
though.
about.
What's crazy is 4.53 is not really slow. It's just
Yeah,
not burning fast. Nowadays, it's like if you're not running 4.3, everyone's kind of like, I don't know, not that fast. And it's like, man, 4.53 ain't slow though. Like, the 40 time, I'm going to tell you, does not match the tape with Carnell Tate. That dude, he was blowing by Big Ten DBs all year. I mean, it didn't matter who they played. Everyone from Texas to Michigan to Penn State, didn't matter. Like, he has tape against all those teams where he is running by people. Um, he is a legitimate deep threat. There's a reason he averaged over 17 yards a catch in 2025. I mean, he was like
crazy.
legitimately the guy that they said, like, they have Jeremiah Smith, by the way. And they were like, no, this dude is our dude. We want to chuck it deep. Carnell Tate's our guy. Um,
Me
part of
too.
the reason why that was such a threat for him is kind of the next strength is just the route stems. He is really good. Looks like a 10-year vet, the way he comes off the ball to start routes. Like, if he wants to blow by you and you're inside leverage, he's going to stem hard inside. He's going to almost look like it's going to be that curl route. But by the time you realize it, he's running the post by your face, right? He knows where he wants to end up. He uses DB's leverage against him. He understands leverage. It's why he's open like all the time on film. Like, you watch and you're like, dude, this guy got open 30 yards down the field again. How does he do this every game? Like, teams have to eventually, they scout, they know this is what this guy does. Like, at
Yeah,
some point, hey, what's this guy going to do? Okay, he's going to step inside. He's going to break back outside, whatever. Like, you should know it's coming, and it didn't matter. like I said, there's plays on tape all throughout the season this year where he's just beating guys vertically. And a big part of that is the way that he runs routes, especially at the beginning with the receiver stem. And then the last thing that I know is just maturity. Ohio State really in the last 10 years, and I think a big part of this is credit to Brian Hartline. It just seems like every receiver that comes out of there is pro ready. They run routes clean. They understand leverage. They understand the route tree. I mean, like you start thinking about it, you're like Carnell Tate. Last year was Emeka Egbuka. Then you have Jackson Smith and Jigba, Chris Olave, Marvin Harrison Jr., Garrett Wilson.
Farming them.
You can just keep naming them, and they're all sort of like prototypical clones of each other, dude. Like they just all run routes with a mature understanding of the game. And Carnell Tate is no exception there. Like everything about the game reads as mature for him. His route running, his understanding of zone defenses, like when to throttle down. That's always a problem for young receivers. It's not for him. The ability to battle through contact at the catch point. This is also part of why he was such a great deep threat. Is even when he didn't create separation, he was good in contested catch situations. He understood how to control his body in the air and how to maneuver his way to the ball and fight through contact. No problem doing the dirty work, like great effort, blocking, or taking hits over the middle of the field. Like all of that stuff, he's fearless, like very mature game. He reads when you watch him as a 10-year vet. So I just have no doubt that he's basically going to step on an NFL field and produce right away, very similar to the way Emeka Egbuka was able to do last year for the Buccaneers. Like, I mean, that's just kind of that's how he reads. It's what it looks like when you watch him on film. I think he's the most like pro ready, doesn't need a whole lot of work, ready to go right now kind of guy. I would say, with the 4.53 40 time, the argument you might have against him in comparison to a couple of the other receivers we're going to talk about today is his ceiling might be a little bit more capped just because he's not going to run by guys in the NFL, at least not just on pure speed alone. But I think in the last 15 years, we've learned a valuable lesson that, dude, I'll take the 4.53 guy who's mature and runs great routes over the 4.3 dude who just like gets to run by everyone
All he
in
does is go
college.
deep.
And then he gets to the NFL and he can't run routes and he doesn't understand defenses and he never really uses his speed effectively. He just runs out of zone windows and he doesn't really beat press man, so he never gets in the open to run it with his speed. Like he's the opposite of that. So I'll take the 4.53 guy that I know is just going to be super productive for a 10+ year career.
Yeah, but your deep threat I wrote down was also what I put. Go deep. That I saw a lot of him just running by people, throwing it up to him, and then I guess kind of with your maturity, I wrote down he had good hands and toes. Like he made a lot of sideline catches, both with 2 feet, which is kind of impressive even for college. Like typically you just see them get the one, and it's like, all right, good enough. We got the ball. But yeah, I saw that a lot as well. My question for you is though, do you think in the NFL would he be able to be healthy over time, or you see that being an issue because this past year he wasn't playing he was missing some games at Ohio State?
I think he missed 3 or 4 games this last year with maybe a hamstring, if I remember. I think there is some concern with
That's
like
brutal.
he's 6'2", so he's long, but he's only 192 pounds. Most times you're 6'2", you want to see a guy closer to like 200 pounds. Now the problem with like that is like, okay, at 192 he's running 4.53. If you put 8 pounds of muscle on him and get him to 200
Yeah,
pounds to help with his
or
frame,
6.
is he slower? And then you start asking those kinds of questions. So I do think there is some question with the frame. It's kind of slender. Is he going to be able to be healthy, consistently, or is he going to always be dealing with those soft tissue issues and that? And like I said, he has no problem taking hits, but in the NFL, when he's taking those hits, will he have the body type to consistently get up and keep being able to play, or is he going to be hurt all the time? That's probably the worry if there is one with him. And I think it's a legitimate worry. I mean, I do, like I said, there's such a maturity there that in my mind and everything that I watch him, obviously I don't know him and you don't get to talk to him or anything like that when you're scouting from this distance. But
Yeah.
just based on what you see on the film, there's a huge part of that to me that says like this kid will figure it out and he'll find a way. If he finds a
Makes
way to
sense.
do all the other and develop all the other ways, I'm sure he'll find a way to make sure he's consistently healthy. I'm sure he'll put the work in on his body to make sure that he can hold up. So I'm not too worried about that. I think he's going to give the offense that he gets to play for a legitimate, just like technician at receiver. He's going to step in, understand the goals of the offense immediately. I think he's the guy that's plug and play right now. Like he can step on an NFL field today and be your second best receiver. And depending on the team, maybe he's your number one. I think the guy who I just consistently, and maybe this is just because he wears 17 and he's got the one
I thought the same
armband,
thing.
but
I stayed away.
just watching it, dude, how can you not see Devontae Adams on tape? It's the same. And you know what's crazy? What's insane is you go look up Devontae's measurables, you go look up his 40 time. What's his 40 time? Guy ran 4.5. He's 6'2". Now, I think Devontae's gotten to the point where he's closer to that 200-pound mark, and that's where Carnell Tate can put a little bit more weight on maybe and try and maintain that 4.5 speed. And then you're talking about like legitimately Devontae Adams. And that's the thing about Devontae, why the 4.5 speed never mattered. Route running technician, dude, he's so smooth. He's quicker than he is fast. Same thing for Carnell Tate. And that's what helps you sort of press DB's leverage and just run past them. So I love this comp. I think Carnell Tate is one of, not to give away rankings coming up and all that stuff, but like I think he's one of the more. It's hard to say this about a guy when he's a top 10 pick projected wise, but I think he's almost slept on right now in terms of what he could be ceiling wise. I think he's, because of that 4.53, I think people are sleeping on him just a little bit.
Yeah, my comp that I ultimately went with, which is kind of funny because I just looked up the rest of the numbers right now. I went with Des Bryant, ? He's clearly not nearly as hefty as him, but he does sit at 6'2". Surprisingly, ran a 4.52 in his 40. Kind of crazy. I
Dez was a more physical, like punch you in the
definitely.
mouth type of receiver, I think.
Which is where that extra 30 pounds on him comes into play.
Yeah. That's the thing. Dez is like 215. This is a low, dude.
Yeah, it said 220 on his thing, but 6'2" as well. Good hands on that man too. That's what I seen. Just let's see. We got top 10 though for where he's projected.
Yeah, this dude ain't getting out of the top 10. He's gonna be a top 10 pick. Even with the 4.5, I think enough people are looking at him going like, yeah, what? Because how many people passed on Emeka Egbuka last year, or an Ohio State in years past, an Ohio State receiver in the top 10, and someone in the teens gets him, and everyone's like, dude, this guy produced right away. What the heck? What were we doing? Why did we overthink this? And so I think there's enough of that out there that someone in that top 10 is going to say, dude, we're just taking him.
We see what they've done in the past. That's good enough for me.
I mean, I think in my mind, the place that he would be awesome in is Tennessee. Because Cam Ward
that's
needs
the first spot that makes sense.
Yes, at 4 overall. Yeah. Cam Ward needs a guy there. Now, you could also make the case they got to figure out quarterback first, but at 6, Cleveland, keep him in state, have a guy that you can rely on that will produce right away. You think about maybe Washington at 7. Depending on if they ended up with, there's all those smoke around getting Brandon Ayuk and sort of reuniting him with Jaden Daniels. So, but if they were to not able to pull that off, then I think having this kind of receiver for them would be a big deal because I believe Debo's gone. Is still
they got
to
figure out if they're signing him or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. And then the other team that you could make a serious case for here is, if they don't want to go defense, I think is the Mahomes Chiefs at 9. If they're like, we need to kind of reinvigorate the receiver spot here. I know they have Rashee Rice, but that guy seems to always be in legal trouble. And they drafted Xavier Worthy a couple years ago, And that's the like what we've been talking about, the super speed guy that doesn't.
Thornton? He's been getting more PT over him. Like
Tyquan Thornton, yeah. So there's just maybe if they want to go back to the receiver, well, maybe they don't. But that'd be another place where I think his maturity would be great with Mahomes. But I think the team, if I was hoping he gets somewhere, I think it was Tennessee is the spot at 4.
Yeah, I think them or the Browns, but like you said, the Browns still have question mark at QB.
The bummer I would hate for him is like going to the Browns and they just don't have a quarterback who can
he
get
can't
him
get
the ball. Yeah. All right. Next up, let's go back to the defensive side of the ball. And a guy I love.
This man's a monster. I'll tell you that. We're looking at Reuben Bain. He played the edge position. Went to Miami. Man sits at 6'2", 263. He was there for 3 years. Ran about a 4.7 in his 40. He did not run at the combine. That's why there's an about. That's what they're guesstimating him at. He has 38 games during that time, 121 tackles. He got 33.5 tackles for losses, 20.5 sacks, 1 million pressures at 153, and then 4 forced fumbles.
If you've listened to this podcast, go ahead.
Real quick, I'm sorry. Before you get, obviously this is jumping ahead. I'm looking at the screen. But your comp was what I wanted to write down, but I didn't because I was like, this seems too close for me to write it down.
I'm gonna get to you on the comp when we get there. There is another guy who I had written down, and then I just said no. I'm going full send.
I'm gonna just do it. Yeah,
Reuben Bain. If you've listened to this podcast for any length of time here, in terms of like at least in the kind of football season and into the college football playoff, I've been talking this dude up for a minute. I freaking love this kid. Number one, when you watch his tape, he has no quit. He plays whistle to whistle and then some. Like he just never stops. Like he never quits on a play. He'll rush the passer, see the ball thrown on the perimeter, and turn and legitimately run to the football and make another play. He makes plays that like other pass rushers don't make because he's just ready to go make like the extra play. And I just freaking love that quality in a pass rusher. You try and coach this into kids, and they just don't do it. They just don't. Like this is like if kids really took your pursuit drill and really took it to heart and just said, I'm going to be that guy on every play. Dude, I'm telling you, there's plays he makes 20 yards down the field that you're just like, oh my God, look at where he came from. He tried to get all the way around, was at the back half of the quarterback, and he makes that play down there 20 yards down the field. So freaking awesome. I'm telling you, even if he loses on the initial rush, he does not like go like, oh, dang it, I lost. He just keeps fighting. He'll just fight. It's why he has so many pressures. Dude, I just like that is a quality that just as a pass rusher, if you have that, you will be good. You know what I'm saying? That's like a guarantee you're going to be awesome. Max Crosby, that's that guy's whole thing, right? That's why he's awesome. He's got great dip and bend.
I have that written down too, which is funny to see.
Classic ability to bend and dip underneath tackles as he turns the corner in pass rush. I'm going to say this again when we talk about Akheem Mesidor, but like you can just tell, coached very well by Jason Taylor. I mean, it's nice to have a Hall of Famer as your freaking coach, right? And you can just see it. The hip flexibility continuously got better while he was at Miami. It's really clear he worked on it. And that's why he's just a freaking monster. And he's an every down player. He takes as much pride in setting edges and stopping the run as he does getting off the ball to rush the passer. He is a football player that looks to dominate every situation. I love this kid. And I just have like very little doubt he's going to be freaking awesome. Like, I mean, there's a lot there to like in terms of the effort and the ability, and you put it together and you're just like, oh man, he's maybe closer to a finished product because he's been coached by, like I said, a Hall of Fame NFL player.
Yeah.
And so he's got a lot of stuff in the arsenal. And some people may see that as a minus in terms of like, he's sort of capped out. How much more can he develop? But it's also the plus of like, you're going to get a guy ready to play from day one. You're going to get a guy.
True.
So I love Reuben Bain, man.
Yeah. So I had you put the dip. I had rip and dip on there. He was either fighting through the lineman or just bending that corner, getting his shoulder down, leaning on that edge, and getting to the quarterback. He's built like a tank. This fool looks like a monster, literally. Like, I don't know if you remember. I think it was a dude from Baylor who was just like built. He was sitting there like he had his abs out. I don't even remember if that was a real photo, but a huge guy. Literally, he looks like that in a little more compact form, just a massive human, and he's a game changer. I mean, you could tell from the pressures and the sacks. Like you can't not see his what's the word I'm looking for? His I guess game changing ability on the field. Like if you run towards him, like good luck. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Don't let him get to your quarterback either. My question for you, Trev, for him is: do you think he'll be able to work on his tackling ability and clean up some of the misses he had in the NFL compared to what he did past in Miami?
That is the thing. He plays with such relentless effort that every so often the thing you see on film is he's playing so hard and running into the ball so fast. Sometimes he like takes himself out of a play, like he makes contact on a ball carrier and kind of falls off because he doesn't come to balance to finish that play. And so that's like a little thing that he needs to clean up to help himself in the NFL. But yeah, I think I'd rather have that guy and be like, okay, man, hey, we got to make sure we're coming to balance, make sure we're under control at the tackle, make sure like, yes, play with great effort, but also be in control of your body. I'd rather have that 10 times out of 10 than like the other guy, the opposite of that, of like the prima donna, like, this play I'm going to take off. I just would so much rather have that. So I think it's an easy question to answer in terms of that. I think he'll clean it up. I mean, he's going to give the team that drafts him an immediate every down edge player. He's going to be a tough, high motor pass rusher. He's going to beat tackles with his quickness and bend from day one. This is why I comped him to Jared Verse. Everything about, and you know what? The guy who I thought of, who I want to say when I comped Jared Verse, I might have comped Jared Verse to him, was Brandon Graham, who played for Philly for forever, came out of retirement, came back this year actually, but similar measurables and all of that, but just the high motor, just no quit. Similar, the thing that Verse had, especially in his rookie year, similar thing that we're talking about with Bain in terms of even the sort of question mark of like, dude, finish plays. Verse missed a lot of tackles as a rookie because he was out of control a little bit because he played so hard. Bain is in a similar spot. So it's just like, man, I think they're like mirror images of each other. And it's always kind of weird and fun to comp a guy to a guy who just came out because you're like, this is a similar feeling I had, and it's a similar thought process in watching it. And I feel the same about this guy. And everyone remembers I loved Verse, or if you were listening to this podcast, you remember I loved Verse. When the Rams took him, I was stoked. Bain is a very similar kind of player. If your team drafts Reuben Bain, you should be feeling very excited. For this reason, he's a top 10 guy. I don't see him getting out of the top 10. There's some teams in that top 10 who could use a pass rusher. It would be crazy if he makes it out of there.
I mean, very easy one would be the Bengals. They've struggled on the defensive side, even people
they
around.
Just lost Trey Hendrickson. So that I agree. Very, very easy place to see if you envision him going if he makes it that far. I mean, I think he could go as high as 2 to the Jets if the Jets were just like, dude, we're just going to take the best pass rusher. It depends on who they see as the best pass rusher. There's a couple guys who could be in that spot, but he could go as high as 2.
One. And say Salah with the Titans, but like their defensive line has always been good. They got Jeffrey Simmons in the middle.
I mean,
putting in work.
Are you going to complain if you end up with Jeffrey Simmons and Reuben Bain? Dude, I mean, come on. Yeah,
My
I don't
comp I
know.
wrote for him, so I had Jared Verse and Thibodeau cross my mind. I was like, these dudes are
Okay.
too new. I'm not doing that. And so what I wrote down was this fool looks and plays, or no, sorry, he plays like Von Miller, but he looks like Julius Peppers. Like this fool is just a massive human being. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. What's crazy is like he's 6'2". He looks bigger than 6'2" on film. He does. There's some guys that just look bigger or smaller on film than their actual
Yeah,
size. He's one of those guys that looks bigger.
yeah, definitely. Like he just looks like a big guy. Like when like looking at whenever I typed in Von Miller measurements, he's only 6'3", 250. I was like, I feel like this fool's still bigger than that. You know what I mean? Obviously, the weight he's bigger, but like I feel like he looks bigger than Von.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to the offensive side here with our next guy.
All right, next dude we're looking at is Jeremiyah Love out of Notre Dame, plays running back. He's 6'2", or sorry, not 6'2". He's 6 foot 212. He was there for 3 years. He's got a 40 time of a 4.36 with a 1.55 on that split. We've got 41 games under his belt, 433 carries. We got 2,882 rushing yards. He's got 6.66 average on his yards per catch. We have 36 rushing touchdowns, 63 catches, 594 receiving yards, and 6 receiving touchdowns, so a total of 42.
Dude, what can you say about this kid? First and foremost, an absolutely explosive athlete. All right. You want speed? Kid runs 4.36. You want the ability to hurdle? He jumps about 40 inches. You want power? Saw some stats from the Notre Dame weight room that says he cleans 335 pounds. Dude has the ultimate rare form of size, speed, quickness, power, and explosion all wrapped into one athlete. Every time he gets the ball, you're just expecting it to be a highlight.
Yeah, he was taking off on everyone.
Dude, he is insane. Every time he gets it, it is like you're like on the edge of your seat thinking it could be a touchdown. I mean, legitimately. I haven't felt like this about a back in college football probably since Saquon. I mean, that's the last guy that you watched, and it was like that good. There's been some great backs that have come out. Don't get me wrong. Love Jahmyr Gibbs. Some of those guys that have come out since, but like this guy, he's different in terms of explosion. His patience and vision, he does an excellent job on film of just finding holes in the defense. Even when there doesn't initially appear to be one, he's not like, Le'Veon Bell status of I'll just sit here for forever until it opens, but like really
Yeah.
patient, great vision. He sees cutback lanes
I
before they happen, uses the burst to get through them when they do. And then the last thing is just like the physicality. It's one thing to be like, I can jump over you, I can run past you. And he does that stuff a lot, but he also will just run through people. I mean, there's a run that I'm thinking of against USC. That poor defensive back never stood a chance, dude. He will just run angry, run people over, lower the shoulder, give some nasty stiff arms too. I mean, I'm not saying he's Derrick Henry, but like, dude, he will put a hand in somebody's face and put him on the ground. Just like I just imagine being terrified as a defensive back in the open field against this cat, thinking you're going to try and tackle him because you don't know what he's going
mean,
to
I've
do.
seen that when they played like the little smaller schools. It's like this guy doesn't stand a chance, bro.
No, you're like, he could jump over you, he could stiff arm you, he could run you over, he could just keep running and run past you because your angle is not good enough because he runs a 4.3. Just like, oh my gosh. This guy oozes talent. I think he he's my favorite player in the freaking draft. He's that good. So
I didn't do it just because I wasn't trying to glaze him, as the kids would say. I was like,
fair enough.
I've heard a
Fair
lot. I
enough.
heard a lot of it. I seen it. It looks good, but at the same time, it's like I don't have the same love.
The thing
for
that
it
hurts him is that he plays running
love
back.
for him. Yeah,
I mean, that's the
true.
thing. That's the thing that hurts him. He plays freaking running back, and
I think I had that same thought, to be honest. When I was watching him, I was like, this dude.
If he
Just got
wasn't
him
a
or
running
Bear.
back, if he was this good at any other position, you're seriously questioning the Raiders for taking anybody else at one. Even as good as Fernando Mendoza is, and we talked about the quarterback, and we know they need one, and all of that is true. But even with that, like if this guy played any other position besides running back, the value he brings in terms of the level of prospect he is at the position, like I said, you're talking about a guy who's probably the only guy who is sort of in his land as a prospect at the running back position in recent memory to me is Saquon Barkley. So he's that good. I'm telling you, he's freaking awesome.
See, what I wrote down for him was breakaway speed. You could just tell he's running away from everyone, like I mentioned. That 4.36 really shows on the film. And
Yeah.
shifty. You mentioned Le'Veon Bell. It's funny. I wrote him down for my comp, but not necessarily because, like you said, he's not nearly as patient where he's gonna dance around the back like boom, there's my hole. But more so with like his play style, where like he was running through people, not afraid to take hits. You know what I mean? Like I felt like Le'Veon was like that too. On top of
Yeah.
the patience in the backfield, but you could just tell this dude's he's gonna hit you with the quick juke or whatever it is, and he's just making his plays. So that's what I had written down for him. Question for you: with him moving in through the draft, do you think he'll be able to have longevity in the league with the pass? You know, being him that has been hard for running backs to stick around in the league, basically.
I think, people are starting to come back around on the running back position. We've seen guys get taken in the first round, back into the top 15 the last few years, Gibbs in Detroit,
Genty.
um, the kid out of Boise State with
Yeah,
the
Ashton Genty.
Raiders. Yeah. So we've seen those guys have some success. Genty had a tough year, but the Raiders were just so bad. It's hard to say much
Yeah, whose
about
fault
that
it was?
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously Gibbs has been freaking awesome. So good that they just traded David Montgomery, and they know they just need to give him the rock. But then you also kind of look around the league and you think about like the impact. I know I've brought him up a few times now, but the impact that Saquon had on that Eagles team, like they got over the hump the year they
Yeah,
signed him.
they won the Super Bowl that first year.
And so I think teams have come back around on like, you know what, running back is, we just saw Kenneth Walker win the Super Bowl MVP. So running back
Also
is a
true.
position that we still need to value. There's something there. And I tell you what, dude, this dude, I think he walks into the NFL and becomes a top 10 back right away. And that's like being like, I didn't want to say top 5 because I thought like, man, that's kind of blasphemous.
Yeah.
But dude, I'm serious. Like he's going to give an offense a true home run threat. He can also help in the passing game in many ways, catching the ball in protections, like all of that. The guy that came to mind in that I was thinking about that first year Todd Gurley spent with Sean McVay and the Rams offense, and he won the offensive player of the year and he scored like 30 touchdowns or whatever. And it was just like every time he got the ball, you thought to yourself, this guy could break it. Like he could be gone. And I think Jeremiyah Love is going to be like that. Like, and who knows? Everyone, of course, worries about durability long term. He's not necessarily a big back. 212 for a running back isn't gigantic.
Mhm.
And yet, I just think this dude is going to be so awesome that I mean, I can't imagine like him not being awesome. So, like I said, I think he walks in the league and he gives you a top 10 to 12 back right away. At worst case. Best case, it's like, dude, you got like the most explosive running back in the
The
league.
man. Yeah.
I mean, with Saquon getting a little bit older, he might actually be able to take that. The only other guy that's going to be like right there, I think, is Jahmyr Gibbs. I think when you think of explosive backs right now, those are the two. It's Gibbs
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Saquon. I think Love is right there with those guys, honestly. So, I hope the right kind of team takes him. That's going to be the thing. Like Genty got taken by the Raiders. The Raiders weren't ready to have an Ashton Genty, right? So I hope
Yeah, that's true.
he's not in that spot. I hope it's like he goes to a team that's ready to just be like, we've got everything else. We just need this running back to take us over the top. And it's like, man, that would be awesome. So
Washington?
projection.
They
Washington just
kinda
signed
haven't
a
had a
bunch of
running back.
running backs. They
Oh,
just
well, there you
signed like
go.
3 backs in free agency, so I don't think so. Everyone loved him to KC before they signed Kenneth
Yeah,
Walker.
I was about to say.
I think, Tennessee is the first place I could see, right? Like I
Makes
think
sense,
they
yeah.
could go Carnell Tate or they could go Jeremiyah Love. It just depends on how they want to run their offense. I mean, Pollard is their back, and he's not bad. And so they don't necessarily need it, but it's just like, man, this guy's kind of different, right? So maybe,
Yeah.
I think
I was gonna say
if
Giants, but they got Scatterboo whenever he comes
yeah,
back.
no, they're not. The Giants aren't taking him.
Yeah.
I think the worst case for him is like if he gets to 12, you think Jerry and the Cowboys are sitting there and they're not going to take him? No, Jerry's
That's what I was
taking
gonna
him.
say. I think that's a
Worst
great spot for
case.
him.
Oh, that would be amazing. That would be amazing for
Yeah.
him. In Brian Schottenheimer's offense, that would be with Dak and CD. Like that's the kind of place where yes, he'll have the impact that I'm talking about. Like that place,
Yeah. No,
they've got
definitely.
receivers. Their O line's okay. Dak's going to be a good enough quarterback. Like he would shine there. He would be fantastic. It'd be amazing. There's just very few places or very few teams that you're like, oh, they need a running back. There's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You wonder like, is someone going to trade up for him? Is it? But I don't see how he gets past 12. I just
Yeah.
don't
No,
see
I
any
agree.
realistic way. The Bengals have a lot of needs, and running back isn't necessarily one of them because I think Chase Brown does a decent job for them. But that's
Yeah,
another place. If
true.
they were just like, you know what, continue to just screw our defense. Let's just keep building the offense. Let's give Joe Burrow another guy. I mean, good Lord, you gave him Jeremiyah Love. That would be insane.
What are the Saints needs? Are they just all defense? Like I don't
The
really know
Saints,
what
the
they.
Saints, you could make an argument they need him because Kamara, I think, is kind of getting up there, and they're ready
Yeah,
to
he's fizzling out, huh? Slow
possibly move
decline.
on there. It seemed like at one point in the offseason. So maybe and he would be, Kamara's like a decent comp. I think he's better than Kamara was
Yeah.
coming out, but decent comp in terms of like Kamara at his height when he was just super explosive and you had to worry about him down and down. That's what
Mm-hmm.
Jeremiyah Love's going to be. So, yeah, I think any of those places would be good.
It's funny too. I know I said Le'Veon Bell, but I also wrote down / Reggie Bush. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, which is funny because it splits them right between. So they're both 6', 6'1", and Reggie Bush was around 200, and Le'Veon Bell was at like 225. So he's like perfectly in the middle.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we go back to the defensive side of the ball. Oh, another good one. God, all these guys are good.
We're looking at Caleb Downs, safety out of the Ohio State University. He's 5'11", 206. He played his first year at Bama before coming here for 2 years. He runs about 4.45 40, comped by, tracking and whatnot, not on time. We got 44 games in his 3 years, 257 tackles. That's a lot for a safety, I'm gonna be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's getting downfield. 16 tackles for loss, 6 interceptions, 11 pass breakups, 4 forced fumbles, and 1.5 sacks.
Ooh, sorry, connection issues here happening.
Yeah, your mic came off.
The technical
There it is.
difficulties.
We're back. I hear that.
The laptop is trying to die real quick, so just
Oh no, you gotta
let me
unplug and replug.
let me.
I know I for everyone listening, I was contemplating I might have to buy a new laptop. My laptop, 11 years old. I told this to TV, but I was like, bro, if I can't use Discord on Google Chrome, I'm gonna have to get a new laptop. And that's an issue right there that I don't want because this laptop has its charger port. I got USB. I got an
Mm-hmm.
earphone jack. I got HDMI and the other SD card plug-in type stuff. All the new ones. All you get is a USB-C and you got to plug in a thing that lets you plug in more things. And I don't want that. That's the reason I'm rocking with an 11-year-old computer.
Yeah, I was dying. I had to plug in and kind of mess some stuff up. But all right, so Caleb Downs. First thing that pops out, is just the closing angles and tackling. You always look for safeties. Do they take great angles because they're always playing top down, right? And he's been one of the best tacklers in college football for the last 3 seasons. He has a missed tackle rate in his college career of right around 10, 11%. That is really, really good. unreal ability to just diagnose the angle he needs to make and get there and make the tackle. I mean, trusts his speed. He meets ball carriers with great physicality. It's rare that he's going to like show up and bounce off. Like he's going to meet a ball carrier with some physicality to get him on the ground. The next thing that you see, just the football IQ. I mean, you think about it and just like, man, he's played for some of the best defensive minds in college football. Right? He played for Nick Saban his first year, of course, right?
Was that
Then he
Nick
plays for
Saban's
Jim.
last year?
Yeah.
That's
Then he plays
crazy.
for Jim Knowles his first year at Ohio State, which is awesome. And they go win a national championship, right? And then Jim Knowles leaves for Penn State. Then he plays for Matt Patricia, who's a Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator who everyone was kind of like, I don't know, is this guy going to be okay in college football? Turns out, yeah, pretty good in college football. Matt Patricia was really good. So he's played for 3 defensive coordinators in 3 years and has excelled under all of them and different schemes. Like, Saban is classic 2 high split safety stuff. Jim Knowles is going to be some like 3 high safety, like different boxes, mess with the quarterback size. And then Matt Patricia is running like true NFL type stuff. So you got the mixed bag of everything, and he was good in all of them. He executed to the highest possible level in all 3 of those systems. He can play in the box. He can play in the slot. He can play in the middle of the field. He can play in the deep half or quarter. Like elite, no matter where you ask him to play, because of his ability to understand the seam and understand and use his athleticism to just execute at a high level. So football IQ was off the charts with him. Then the last thing is for a safety, dude, super fluid transitions, like unique transition skills for a guy who's playing in that position. Most of those guys usually play a corner when they're that fluid in the hips and feet, for a reason. So it gives him an ability to make any kind of break in the field. I mean, he didn't play in the middle of the field maybe as much as you would think, but just based on everything else you see, like, he can make those plays if you ask him to play there. Didn't run the 40, so we're approximating that 4.45. You don't know. He doesn't. It's not like he looks slow in film. I mean, so this dude, basically has everything you want in a modern NFL safety. There's very few things that you can pick nits about. So I love this cat. He's going to be really good.
Let's see. For those tackles, I wrote down ankle biter. My man was tripping everyone out there, making sure
he does have some where you're just like, he just swipes and gets guys on the ground.
And then I wrote down pass breakups. I think obviously it's a highlight reel compared to he only had 11. I probably saw like 3 or 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of funny. But I mean, he was able to make those plays on the balls. A lot more on like the sideline. So it's like just get the ball down. Like don't worry about nothing. All right,
and
my
6
question
picks for a safety is not bad production in 3 years. So
yeah, no, true. My question for you for him is, do you think he has a deep bag of things, tools he could use? He's playing man a lot in college. Do you think he could excel doing other stuff in the league?
Well, and I think that's he did so much in college that in my mind, it's like, yeah, he can do whatever you're going to ask him to do. I think the thing, if you're asking him to like go play man coverage on slots and be your slot corner like a Cooper DeJean with the Eagles, maybe you're not getting the best out of him, but I think he could execute that. I think he could do that consistently, right? But I think you would be limiting like all the other things he could also do for you. But God, nowadays sometimes teams do put their best guy there, right? You see Cooper DeJean with the Eagles, what he's done for them. Nick Emmanwori for the Seahawks, what he's done for them there. Deion Branch, what he's done for the Lions in that role. Sometimes Kyle Hamilton with the Ravens, he's in that role. So like he could end up doing that kind of thing, but it does feel like, man, he's got a deeper bag than that, and he can do so much more that you would feel like maybe you're wasting his talent there a little bit. I don't know. It's such an important position now that maybe that's what you have to do. But man, he is awesome. I think he's a day one starter and gives his DC the ability to do a ton of different things. Like you think about what Kyle Hamilton does for the Ravens. Like they can play him in the deep half, deep middle of the field, but they also play him in the box and they also play him over the slot. And he like will do all of that for you. To me, like the comp here is, I thought about a few different guys, but the 2 guys that really came to my mind is like he can play a similar style of football like Kyle Hamilton. He's just much smaller than Kyle Hamilton. The thing that kind of makes Kyle Hamilton so special is he is like 6'4". This guy's 5'11", so it's different, right? But he can do a lot of the same things Kyle Hamilton does for the Ravens defense. The other guy who came to mind was like Tyrann Mathieu, a little bit closer in terms of a size comp. Tyrann Mathieu's actually smaller than Downs is, but just the way that Tyrann could play like over the slot, he could play in the box. He was just, he did so much. He was a great playmaker. So I have that kind of Tyrann Mathieu, Kyle Hamilton sort of mashup. I didn't come up with like the perfect comp for him because it was really hard to, because he's just such a unique player. But that's kind of what I was thinking in my head.
Yeah, I do like your honey badger. If I'm being honest, I saw it that makes sense because he's like, you see him doing a lot of stuff up front at the line.
The other thing that he did in college, the honey badger did, great return guy. Punt return, kick return.
You need that versatility, especially early on if you're not working out. I didn't have a comp. I just wrote down Darian in high school with the amount of ankles this guy was taking. That's all I remember from him. Just like he was never he was making tackles, but he was always afraid to take the contact. You know what I mean? So that's where I was going with that one. But I couldn't come up with the real one. As we get longer in the list, the further I got from finding the comp. So I'm just whatever you're rolling with, I'm probably rolling with.
Fair enough. He's a top 10 pick. No one. When you go through it, you're like, who needs a safety? It's like nobody needs a safety, but this guy is so good that we come back to like the Bengals just seem to be a fun one because you're like the Bengals need so much.
Yeah,
that
they need help on defense.
That you're like, okay, maybe the Bengals, or I could see, I don't know, the Jets would be tough. I think they're more likely to take a pass rusher, but it's also, I could see the Jets being like, we just value good football players, and this guy's one of the best in the draft, so let's just take him. I wouldn't be like completely shocked. The Giants are another one. I could see this is a place for him to go with like what they have up front right now. You put this guy on the back end, and they already have some strong corners, and now you give him this kid, and it's like this could be really good. Maybe even in Washington with what
I was gonna say that's where I could probably see him coming off first, but I don't. It's just like the first 6 there's so many questions. Like, what route are they going? You know what I mean? Well, I guess the first one they're taking Mendoza, but after that, it's like those.
After that, 2 through 7. It's kind of like, I don't know, maybe it is. It is kind of a toss up in a lot of spots. You think the Giants. It's like, all right, they have the quarterback, they have the running back, they have neighbors at receiver. Like you kind of have a feeling like maybe they go O-line if they're going to go offense, but otherwise it's like,
true.
You think the Giants could go defense, and it's like maybe they take a pass. They're not going to take a pass rusher because they have all those dudes. So like if they're going to do that, maybe they go downs, and like that would be a big deal. I mean, obviously, I comped them in some ways to what Kyle Hamilton was able to do for the Ravens defense. Maybe John Harbaugh sees that and says, this guy could be that kind of player for our defense here in New York. So we'll see. We'll see what they do. All right. Next up, another spoiler alert, good football player. Makai Lemon. What you got here?
There you go. Receiver out of USC. He's 5'11", 192. He played for 3 years. He has a 40 time of a 4.47. Dang, did I miss that? Is that from the combine? I don't have his numbers. Dang. He's got 33 games in that span, 183 targets with 137 receptions. He got 2,008 yards. Let's see. Yards per catch, he was at 14.7 average with 14 touchdowns.
The first thing that stood out like right away is just this dude is like a running back after the catch. Super physical running style. A lot of plays that finished where like the defense couldn't get him on the ground. Their only hope is like they stopped his forward progress and the whistle blew, but he didn't actually finish on the ground. You know what I mean? Like the 3 guys who are still holding him up and he's just not on the ground. He's just like, nah, you guys aren't going to put me on the ground. I'm going to finish this run my way. And it's just like, dude, you just see that and you're like, oh, I love receivers that play with that kind of style. Ton of yak opportunities. He had 6.4 yards after the catch per reception in 2025. Think about the value of that. Like if you're in a 3rd and 8, you can throw it to him 2 yards up the field. He's going to get you a first down. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
that's true.
that part is just awesome. You always kind of worry with receivers that have that kind of style. Are they going to stay healthy? You think about the Deebo Samuels, the Puka Nakuas, the Amon-Ra St. Browns, like those kinds of super physical receivers after the catch. And that always worries you a little bit, but man, you love a tone setter like that. So his hands, the next thing, man, his hands at the catch point are freaking incredible. Beats DBs to the ball because he's willing to extend all the way out. Rarely has body catches. This guy only had 3 drops on 175 targets in his last 2 seasons at USC. Like his first season, he didn't really play that much. I think he had like 8 catches his first season or something like that. So you really look at the production over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And this dude, 3 drops on 175 targets. That is like low drop rate right there. Like elite.
For 2 years, that's wild.
An elite data point. And then the last thing is just real smooth out of breaks. Does a great job getting defenders on their heels, forcing them to flip their hips early, and then he's just snaps out of the break and he loses them completely. Creates 5 to 6 yards of separation. It's almost unfair sometimes what he does in his route running. He creates real separation at the top of routes. So I do love that from him. There's just a lot to like with Makai Lemon. There's a lot of traits on film that you're just like, oh, this guy's going to be good. He's just going to be really good out of the slot, man. He's going to, yeah.
Yeah,
I like him.
I had the same physical data point that you did. Basically, it was all after the catch. Just like you said, it was tough for this fool to get tackled. On the sideline, he's swatting people's arms out of the way, getting up another like 3-4 yards, as you mentioned. Yak, we've seen some plays where he was going deep and he was just taking off on dudes. Kind of ties in with the physicality. He said he's got 6.4 yak after his receptions. Kind of crazy. And then tracking. I saw a play where he was running the ball. He must have lost it in the sun or something. He was looking this way and turned back the other head. Got it on the other side. Like I think he's got good vision for the ball. Let's see. My question for you is, do you think he has versatility? Like he's a smaller dude. We could see 5'11". Do you think he could grow outside of the slot like gadget type play style in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, you see a lot of stuff at USC where he pretty much played exclusively out of the slot. I mean, he played on the outside a little bit, but he was mostly a slot guy, and they did a lot of like orbit motion type stuff, put him in the backfield, throw him quick screens, give him reverses. Like he was so good with the ball in his hands, so they just found different ways to get it to him. So you do ask yourself, like, what kind of player is he, right? Because you think of a guy like, let's say, Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel never quite evolved to being like an outside receiver. He was always just like a slot gadget running back. We like in the core type of guy. Which is not necessarily a bad thing. It limits a little bit of what he can do, limits the impact. Then you look at some other guys who are in terms of similar play style, like Puka Nacua or Amon-Ra, and those guys have evolved to like you can play them out of the slot, and they're good there. I mean, Amon-Ra especially going to be great there, but like they can go out there and be your X, and they can beat press coverage, and they can win with the route tree out there too. And you like that because it makes it super hard to defend if if a team can game plan where it's like, okay, Makai Lemon's always in the slot. We're going to put our best slot cover corner guy on him always. You can sort of take him away a little bit, or versus like if he has scheme versatility where he can play outside, you can always find the matchup you want. And the other team is the defense is on their heels always because they're never going to quite figure that out. And that's what makes like a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown so valuable in the Lions offense. So in terms of that question, I think he shows enough on film, like with his hands, that he can beat press coverage, and you'll see him on the outside some. Yeah. Think he gives teams an immediate slot target that can be a security blanket for the quarterback. His route running and yak will elevate the offense that he works in. I think he has that potential to eventually become a guy who you play anywhere. So obviously, I talked about him quite a bit here, but the comp is Amon-Ra St. Brown, another USC receiver, similar measurables. But a guy
He's taller, right? I feel like he's a little taller.
Amon-Ra might be 5'10". I don't remember.
Oh, really? Dang.
Yeah,
I
he's
thought he
not
was bigger than
tiny.
that.
But yeah, they're similar, just like play style, tough, physical, great hands, smooth out of the break. Like I just couldn't help but see. I know it's another USC guy, but I just could not help but see it when I watched this.
Yeah. I saw that when I seen it right now. I thought that was funny. I guess he's 6 foot 200. It says 202.
So is he a little
So
bit bigger than Makai?
Yeah, it's the weight probably that does it for me. That looks a little different. I went for Julian Edelman with him.
Okay. All right.
But it ties into your question of if he's gonna evolve out of the slot gadget guys. Like that's kind of what I pigeonholed him in.
The thing that comps him well to Edelman though is that Edelman was just like really good return guy too, and Makai Lemon's going to give you that. That's another thing he gives you is the return value. So that elevates him a little bit too. Is he can be your punt returner, your kick returner as well. So that helps too. And that's I see what you're talking about with the Edelman. I think they're probably more similar size too.
Yeah, it says, for being specific, 5'10" and 3/8, and it said he was around 195 to like 200 range.
Yeah. So very similar size. I don't hate the Edelman comp, dude. That's not a bad one. Not a bad pull, just right off the dome right there.
Oh no, I had that one. It was just
okay.
It was more just like I've been looking up the measurements of the dudes I have written down just to see if I'm in the ballpark, because you know with me, I just see visually and I say this guy. I don't ever look it up,
So pick wise, I've seen him as high as 6, as low as 16. There's a lot of people, a lot of smoke with the Rams here. I can't lie. Would love him with the Rams. Would love him with the Rams. I do think there's a little bit of like he'd have to be somewhat versatile because you play Devontae out of the slot already a little bit. You sometimes want to play Puka out of there. So I think the Rams do like having the versatility of a guy who could play on the slot or the outside. If Makai is a slot only type of guy, then that kind of makes Devontae and Puka, outside guys only. So that would take, because they're never going to play in 10 personnel. They're going to play 11, 12, or 13. So you really only have one slot receiver when you're in 11 personnel like that. The other thing, though, that I would love about it for the Rams is, what was one of the things the Rams were terrible at last year? The special teams. And this guy would give you a legit punt returner where you're not going to muff a punt against Seattle in the NFC Championship to lose a game. You know what I'm saying?
I still can't believe – I don't know who that guy was, but I can't believe he was doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know how long he's had that job, but I don't remember.
He had it for the whole season. He had it for the whole season.
They were using Kyron, though, for the longest, him and Blake Corum.
In the kick return game, it's been Corum and Whittington sometimes and things, but in punt returns, pretty much always Xavier Smith. They did use Kyron a little bit after the fact, like when he was having some troubles, but yeah, it was pretty much always Xavier Smith. But anyway, so some guys
I think a landing spot would be Miami, though. They just got rid of
Miami since they just traded Waddle.
And no Tyreek.
Yep. It'd be a great place for him. I agree with you. Miami, LA, I don't know if – the Browns are at 6. That's where the highest I've seen them go. I don't know that's – the Browns need a quarterback. It's hard for me to like comp a receiver to him or project a receiver or running back to him until they have that quarterback. But
Jets on the second time around, possible. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
I could see that
long.
You pair him with Garrett Wilson and you have something. Yeah. I like the Dolphins one. I think that's one that you said that I really
think
like.
That makes sense. Yeah.
All right. Next on the docket, let's see what we got. Ooh, yeah.
We got David Bailey, edge rusher out of Texas Tech. He's 6'3", 251. Oh, man. 4 years, 3 years at Stanford. Man, I thought that was 5 for a second. I was like, hold on, let me do this in my head. Got a 40 time of 4.5 on the dot with a 1.62 on his split. My man had a 35-inch vertical, a 10.9 on the broad jump.
4.5 at 250? 250? 4.5? Come on. Sorry.
Hey, bro, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We talked about it.
Sorry.
On the other guy, the offensive dude. I said this is like what edge rushers are doing.
Think about this, guys. David Bailey is 6'3", 251 pounds, and he runs a couple hundreds faster than Carnell Tate, who's 6'2", 190. Come on. Get out of here. David Bailey's a freak. Anyway, continue.
Let's see. 46 games in his college career. We got 163 tackles, 42 tackle for losses, 29 sacks, 162 pressures, and 10 forced fumbles.
Oof. David Bailey. First thing you see, dude. Guy has an arsenal. He has a bag, as the kids would say.
I did write that down.
Super advanced arsenal on film for a college edge rusher, dude. He's great first step. We obviously know the speed is incredible, right? The get off, when you run 4.5 in the 40 at 250 pounds, your get off is insane. So obviously the speed is his preference to beat guys, but usually like a guy this quick and big in college, you're like, okay, so he just beats people. Like he just beats them on the edge all the time. And he does do that. But then he also would just like really throw tackles off where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to get up and I'm going to get you setting it on your heels and I'm just going to poof and throw my hands and go speed to power and just push you into the quarterback because you're on your heels and you are not ready for me to do that. Does that so well.
Enough, I'll hit you with the spin move too. Why not?
Dude, that's the thing too, is then he'll like really get you to overset and he'll catch you oversetting and he'll Dwight Freeney spin move back inside. And that is just nasty. To have all of that, like long arm chops, all of it in the bag as a college pass rusher, pretty freaking impressive. And he's got it all, dude. Ball production. Just has a nose for the football, right? When he turns the corner against tackles with that speed, he has an ability to just find the ball and get it out of the quarterback's hands. There's a reason he has 10 forced fumbles in his college career. Right? He's very good at getting that paw out there and just, he's not getting to the quarterback. He's going to get that ball out. And that's, arguably better than actually getting the sack because now you're getting the sack fumble. Now you're giving yourself a chance to create takeaways. So people love that. And then he's just got that natural bend, like great bend in his hips, turns the corner, fantastic combination when you have that kind of first step. Just, you can see tackles there's real pressure to play against this guy because you're like, oh my gosh, he's going to beat me with that first step. I better get back. I get back. Oh my gosh. Now all of a sudden I'm just getting bull rushed in my quarterback. Okay. I'm not going to get on my heels, but I'm going to get back. Now I'm on my toes and I'm back, but now he spins back inside and uses my leverage against me. What do you do? There's nothing. You don't do anything with a kid like this. So
double the best.
He, as far as a pass rush element, he might be the best, like just pure pass rush guy in this draft.
Let's see. What else do I have written down? I got good motor. My man's always flowing to the ball, kind of similar to the Bain that we looked at earlier.
Yeah.
Kind of flying around everywhere. I want to say, I might have a mistake with somebody. I want to say he had a pick in his highlight reel. I'm not positive.
I think he did.
And the other thing I have written down, I just wrote big body bends. My dude, big man. 6'3", takes up space. Like, as we mentioned, like you could tell on film, he plays standing up. He has like just a big frame, not the same as like Bain, but like big up top. You know what I mean? Or Bain's kind of just like solid. This dude
all the way through.
Up top. Yeah.
You know the other thing I love about David Bailey? This dude just like puts his pants and his jersey on, throws the helmet on, and goes out there and plays. He don't wear anything extra. He got no tape, no gloves, no sleeves.
He is very simple.
This dude just puts his jersey and his pants on and says, okay, I'm ready to go play. Let me just go after the quarterback right now. He's awesome.
Let's see. Our question for you for David Bailey is, do you think he could develop to being playing every play, every down player in the NFL?
Yeah, I think he's got that kind of potential. I think when you look at it like right now, instant pass rush guy. He's an instant, like, in pass rush situations, you put him on the field and he's going to help you win. I think he's going to be a double-digit sack guy pretty regularly. And he could develop into that every down edge player. I think that's where he probably needs the most work is like setting edges and playing against the run. Maybe that's what separates him a little bit right now from like a Reuben Bain. I like both of them very much. I think Bain plays the run a little bit better right now. Has a little bit more. When you talked about him being solid, that's that extra 15 pounds that Reuben Bain has on his frame that David Bailey doesn't right now. It's not to say that Bailey can't develop that. It's just you don't see it as much on film yet. But it's not like he's never plays the run. Like he played every down at Texas Tech, and he was awesome. Just as you project him to the NFL, that's where you're going to say, hey, what's he need to work on? When he's working on being better against the run, being more disciplined in his gaps. He's so fast. Sometimes he gets himself out of position. It just reminds me a ton of O.C. Umenyiora from the Giants. You remember that dude? Sick.
No, sir. I saw a name and I said, I don't know who that is.
So you think about back to like when the Giants upset the 19-0 or the 18-0, whatever. It was a 19-0, 18-0 going for 19-0 Patriots in that Super Bowl. OC was one of those pass rushers that dominated that game. OC Umenyiora, sick. Him and Strahan together, that was like such a fun combo. So I that's who I see when I watch David Bailey. A little bit guy who's been out of the league for, retired for a little while, so a little bit older comp there, but just like similar size, really big, but just insane quick twitch off that edge with kind of a deep bag, and a guy who eventually developed into an every down player, but you always felt good when he was rushing the passer. That's what you wanted him doing. You weren't paying him all the money to, set edges and play the run. You're paying him money to go win on the money downs, and that's what David Bailey's going to be for sure. So
see, I did not have a comp on this one, so I'm gonna roll with you. But I will say, I think it just clicked for me, but we finally got someone I think that could go to Jets, and it's an edge rusher in general. Like
maybe the second time around,
they lost the you don't think he can go early?
I think not 2 is high,
but like a defense.
I think 2 is high for Bailey. There's just other guys, the other defensive players I like who are more well-rounded in this draft. Like what David Bailey does in terms of rushing the passer is elite. Like I said, he might be the best pure pass rusher in the draft right now, at least from what you can see on film. But I think there's other guys who maybe can do
running
more. I think there's other guys who can do more down to down and provide a little bit more value play to play than what he's giving you right now, which is not to say he's not. He's a top 10 pick. He's going to be a top 10 pick. I just think 2 is a little early.
Yeah. I just think it just made sense to me. The Jets, not him in general, but like a defensive dude on the line, D lineman. Just because we lost Quinnen Williams and some other dude on the defense last year. Like, I don't remember what they got back for it, but like I think that kind of makes sense to go defense. It just made sense. It just hit me after however many dudes we've done. I just realized, they kind of do need defense.
If the Browns were just like
lost him too.
If the Browns just wanted to just make themselves impossible to block in third down situations, they could just say screw it. And I comped him to O.C. Umenyiora. Myles Garrett is basically the modern Michael Strahan, so you could have like what the Giants had with Umenyiora and Strahan. You just give them. Oh my gosh, that'd be insane. I think the Browns need to draft offense, but man, that would be crazy if they put him in Cleveland.
Yeah, who knows, man? Who knows? What we got next?
All right, next guy. Let's roll.
Next guy, we got Jordyn Tyson, wide receiver out of ASU. He's 6'2", 203. He got 4 years in college. His first year, he played at Colorado. He is about a 4.5 on his 40 time. He got 33 games during college career, 263 targets with 158 receptions, 2,282 yards. He's got 14.44 yards per catch, and he's got 22 touchdowns in that time frame.
Well, the first thing that jumps out about Jordyn Tyson when you watch the film is for being a bigger-bodied receiver, great body control. Whether you're talking about being near the sideline, in the air, just outside the end zone. He just finds ways to make plays with his balance and athleticism. It's kind of rare to see in a guy who's just so big. 6'2", 205. That's a big receiver. It's a big boy. And he looks even almost bigger on film than that. But like you see, like there's a play in particular that I'm thinking of. I forget who it was against, but it was at home, and he catches a ball with like 5 yards to go to the end zone. He's kind of on the sideline. So first of all, he has to make sure he catches it and stays in bounds. Then he kind of flips around, kind of dodges one tackle, dives over another tackler and gets into the end zone. You're just like, man, that was like elite body control and athleticism right there. Like that's the kind of play I'm talking about. But there's so many more examples, but that was like one of the better ones for showing it all in one play. So also just great on intermediate routes, like big target, smooth cuts, ability to catch the ball through traffic, makes him a quarterback's best friend on those routes from like 7 to 15 yards, whether it's an inbreaker or an outcut, and just really good in moving chains in critical situations. It's 3rd and 8. You want to run him on that 12-yard dig and just move the chains. He's going to win. He's going to win that route and get it for you. And then last thing, elite deep ball tracking. Like his combination of frame speed and stems just made him obviously a deep ball threat. Like that's part of why he's so good in the intermediate game too, because he could just run by you. And
that makes sense.
His ability to track the ball, like he has a ton where he's here and he tracks it over that outside shoulder and it's right in his hands, or it's on that back shoulder. He can flip again, body control, and go back there and make that catch.
He has a lot where like the ball was just clearly not thrown well to him, and he finds a way to slide for the ball, or like he's falling behind, like that kind of slide,
his adjustments, very good. And then even like just high point, like I'm just gonna go up and win. He grabs those two. So great deep ball tracking, great body control, sick on the intermediate routes, good route runner, clean, big physical kind of receiver. Like I really like this kid. I can see why he's been kind of a fast riser recently when you watch that tape.
Yeah, for me, on top of what you said, I forgot to mention he did 26 reps on the bench press at the combine. I wrote down acrobat, kind of similar you're talking about with like the body control, where like he was like what I was thinking Keon Coleman would be like whatever years ago that was. Like that's how I saw him. Very similar to that. And I think this kind of ties in your route running on the intermediate ones. I put quick bursts. Like you could see very shifty getting in and out, and then he's got that separation to just get away from people, get out of bounds, or whatever the play was. Let's see, what's the question we got for you? Oh, that's an interesting one. Okay, 2 questions here. What do you think can help him, go from being a good player to a great player? What separates him from those 2 words? And then can he stay healthy in the NFL, being that, like I said, he was doing some crazy catches in there where like 3 people were on him and he's catching up in the air and landing on like his back.
Yeah, he did. He did have some issues staying healthy in college, kind of like Carnell Tate. I think he's in a similar spot to what we asked with Carnell Tate. It's like, now the difference is Carnell is 6'2", 192, and you're like, man, he needs to add some weight and not lose any speed, which is tough. This dude's already 6'2", 205, running that 4.5. I think you put 10 more pounds on him and let him be 215, and he becomes like impossible for DBs to be able to physically match up with. And he looks his frame look like Carnell Tate doesn't look like he can add a whole lot. Like you hope he can get to like maybe 200.
Yeah.
Jordyn Tyson looks like Jordyn Tyson looks like a 6'2", 205 that can gain 10 pounds if he wants to. And he has that big frame already. It's weird. He looks so much bigger on film than Carnell Tate, even though they're both 6'2". Right, and he's only about 10 pounds heavier than Carnell Tate right now. But, offensively, he's going to give you just a versatile receiver who can win from the slot or the outside. He's going to be an on-time route runner. He can win with his body control and athleticism no matter where he is on the field. This is who I saw when we talk about Des Bryant as a comp. This is where I saw Des Bryant winning with that physicality and body control. He can win intermediate. He can win on deep balls. Just whatever he called himself, the X factor. Des, dude. It looked very similar. They moved similarly. Where like Des also was like a 4.5 guy, and everyone thought coming out when he came out. I remember everyone was like, "Oh, he's gonna be odd. He's low 4.4." No, he was like 4.5, but he just runs such good routes and he's so clean and he has that big frame that he wins at catch points because he's physical. That's Jordyn Tyson. So, yeah, man, I think that's where the comp comes in. I saw him. He's anywhere from picks 4 to 13 right now. So could be an interesting mix of teams in there. As high as who's 4? The Giants, the Titans. That's another. If they want that kind of receiver, they could take him.
Let's see.
Could the Giants take him and pair him with Malik Neighbors? Could Washington take him? He'd be that kind of prototypical X that they may be wanting. To pair with Terry McLaurin.
Another one that could be the Dolphins.
The Dolphins. The Rams. I think he actually fits better with the Rams than Makai Lemon, honestly. And the reason why is because of his versatility to go inside or outside. It pairs well with like what the Rams look for in their receiver versatility. I comped like Carnell Tate is Devontae Adams, right? And so you don't want to necessarily have. I mean, no one's gonna be mad at having 2 Devontae Adams, right? And I said Makai is more like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't know. I think of all those receivers, if you're talking about the one that fits with the Rams the best, it's probably Jordyn Tyson because of that scheme versatility. You imagine adding Des Bryant to Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, and you're like, oh my gosh, it'd be insane, right? So because Des could go inside and outside. That's the other thing. Win from anywhere. So I think
this one I wrote Mike Evans, but with no height. You could tell.
Yeah,
Mike
much
Evans
smaller
is
Mike.
6'5". Yeah,
much smaller Mike Evans, mini Mike Evans. Yeah, I see that.
And then that's why when you said Des Bryant, I was like, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, this is a little older, 2014, but 4.53, 37-inch vert, 12 reps on the bench. My guy's stronger than him. I'll tell you that.
Des?
Yeah, no. Jordyn Tyson.
All right. Oof. Another Ohio State player, dude. We've got way too many Ohio State guys on this list, by the way. Which lets you know I am being unbiased and totally truthful. Because I've got 4 out of the 12 guys on this list are freaking Ohio State guys, but they're that good. So that lets you know.
Next up, we got Sonny Styles, linebacker out of the Ohio State. He's 6'5", 244. We got 4 years of college. His 40 time was a 4.46 with a 1.56 on that split. This guy was kind of an athlete. I'm not gonna lie. 43.5 inches on his vert, 11.2 on the broad. He had a 7.09 on the 3 cone and a 4.26 on the shuttle. I mean, did it all. That's also rare breed right there. How many people do we know have done more than 3 of these things in the last years? Not any of these other dudes. I'm gonna tell you that.
Dude, he's a freak.
Hold on, I'm still going. We got the 44 games, 245 tackles.
Got so
We're
excited.
at 22.5 tackles for losses, 9 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 1 pick.
All right. So I'm gonna tell you guys. I almost got crazy with this one, with the comp. I bet you. I wonder, Jody, if you can get this when I start telling you some of the stuff about him. Right. Number 1, 6'5", 245. Number 2, runs a sub 4.5. Number 3, former safety converted to linebacker.
You lost me. I don't know. I don't know many people with that line. I'm sure people are like, bro, it's this guy. We know. My bad. I'm
I
sorry.
couldn't quite bring myself to do it, but I'm going to tell you, on the high end, Brian Urlacher
He played safety.
in college before switching to Mike linebacker.
That's crazy. I had no clue.
I mean, that's why the Bears were able to invent Tampa 2, or I guess I should say like perfect Tampa 2, because they had a Mike linebacker running the pipe that used to play safety. And Sonny Styles started at Ohio State as a safety and became a linebacker over time. And that's in part, like, one of the things I said is the strength of his coverage drops. He's like great in his awareness in zone drops, understands space, angles, where offenses are trying to attack. Like from there, he breaks on throws in an elite way for a linebacker and finishes the play with great physicality. It's funny because I was like, man, Sonny Styles, like, I don't feel like this is what he was doing early, and I couldn't, and I came up with all this, and then I went back and looked, and I was like, oh, that's right, he was a safety when he got there. No wonder he's so
this
freaking
makes
awesome.
A lot more sense to me
in coverage. Now. Yes,
you'll see when I list off the things I have for him. Like, I had no clue how to define this guy.
Yeah, dude, he's like his skills as a former safety definitely still show up at the bigger frame, and then like sideline to sideline. When you think of prototypical Mikes in the NFL, you think of that like sideline to sideline playmaking. And of course, when the dude runs a 4.4 and he's 245 pounds and he's 6'5", yeah, dude, yeah, he's gonna do that stuff in his sleep. His speed and instincts help him just eat ball carriers. And then last thing is the open field tackling. When you're 6'5" and his wingspan, and you jump 43 inches and your wingspan is whatever his is, it just lets him like pay off the sideline to sideline speed with that open field tackling. Takes great angles. He comes to balance, doesn't overrun stuff. He finishes plays. Supreme playmaker, challenges offensive identities, honestly, because most offenses want to find that Mike linebacker and attack that matchup. And when teams play at Ohio State, it's like, we can't be who we are. Sonny Styles erases that. I mean, he's a matchup like creator on the defensive side. So rare you see guys like this. This is like if Kyle Hamilton put on 25 pounds and became a Mike. That's kind of what it's like, honestly.
That's true.
So on the high end, like comp wise, like I said, I was like, man, could this guy become Brian Urlacher? And I had to make myself like slow down a little bit and say like, no, I can't say that. That's just like, you can't comp him to like a Hall of Famer when he's played the position for 2 years. Like we got to slow our roll. But like that is something that came to my mind. I'm not going to lie to you. I'll get to my real comp here in a second after you kind of are able to give some of your juice on this guy.
So I think similar to your like tracking, I guess it's an open field tackling. My bad, I read that wrong. I put great eyes and sifting. You could see him be patient, and then he finds like the gap where the ball's going and everything, attacks the hole. I wrote down rally man because a lot of the time he'll get there, and then everyone else, gang tackle, help him out, get him down. And then I wrote down zone. Like you could see, he's very good in coverage, a lot of zone, which kind of checks out now that you say he used to play safety. Because I was like, I don't know. The whole time I kept telling myself, I was like, this guy is a true linebacker. This is no edge rusher / DN, whatever you want to call him. Like, true linebacker. And I was like, maybe that's why I just don't understand how to, like, gauge this dude, But now it all makes sense.
It's rare you have a linebacker like this in the top 10 to 15.
Let's see. Our question, though, which kind of actually I did have a question, the same exact one, was, is he simply just a coverage linebacker, or do you think he could play down to down, get up in the A gap, meet the guards down there, and run downhill on those rushes?
I mean, yes. The short answer is yes. I think he's going to be able to do that. I really do. And if he does do that at the level that I think he can get to, then he really is like, you're talking about the Brian Urlachers of the world. You really are. The Fred Warners. Like, you're talking about that kind of player.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
He gives the new defensive coordinator he's going to play for a chess piece at linebacker to just match modern offenses who look to create those matchups on linebackers. The very, very, very worst case scenario, he's a super valuable sub-package linebacker. I came up with Tremaine Edmonds, who's 6'4", great. His brother's a safety. great. And it's funny because Sonny Styles' brother Lorenzo Styles, a safety. So like, there's some like weird similarities there with the Edmonds brothers.
Parallels.
But Tremaine Edmonds, stick coverage linebacker, great coverage skills, hard to throw over in the middle of the field because he's 6'4". Is not like the greatest linebacker against the run, but is pretty good. And has that similar ceiling of Sonny Styles when he came out of like, dude, he could end up being something crazy if things break the right way. I think it's a similar situation. So that's where the real comp is Tremaine Edmonds. Like that's the floor comp, I guess. The ceiling comp is Urlacher. You know what? And honestly, this current projections, I had this at 10 to 25. I just saw a draft where he went second, a mock where he went second to the Jets because people are saying like that's how good this guy can be. And so I have to kind of adjust like the calculus on this guy because I was seeing a lot more like somewhere in the teens. And now it's like, no, he's getting in the top 10 and it's more and more like he may go as high as second to the Jets. So
see, if we were looking
that tells you how crazy the potential is. I mean, honestly, it's teams are seeing it. That's why you're starting to see him shoot up.
See, in that range though, besides that 2 is crazy. I'm be honest, at least in my eyes.
I'll tell you who I want to draft him. I'll tell you who I want to have. Freaking LA Rams, dude. I would love to have him next to Nate Landman. Holy smokes, that would be insane.
Let's see.
I really am starting to believe he won't be there at 13. They won't have a shot at him.
Let's see. I think something that could
How
make
sick
sense.
would it be if he went to Washington and got to play with Bobby Wagner at the end of his career?
Oh, that would be sick.
I think that could be pretty fun.
I was thinking later. You got that at 7. I was thinking more so. Obviously, there's a question mark at quarterback for this team still, but not the Panthers. Sorry, I was reading the wrong team. The Vikings, the team right before them.
Yeah, could see that. Could see that for sure. The Vikings are kind of in an interesting spot. They don't have like outside, like you said, quarterback's their most glaring need, but like you're like, they could kind of go in any direction. That they could take a player like this. I mean, Sonny Styles, I'm telling you, man, I just got text from my pops. I'm not kidding. Sonny Styles would be awesome. Like, yeah,
that's hilarious.
I agree. That's what timing. What timing there. But yeah, dude, I think whoever drafts him, I think, dude, this guy's he's gonna be sick. He just plays Mike linebacker, which is like it's kind of like Jeremiyah Love at running back, where you're like, but
yeah, that's fair.
Man, he could be the kind of game changer at Mike that you take it.
See who we got next. I think we got Dillion Thienemen, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
I love this guy more than most. Most people do not have this guy in their top 12, but we do.
That's fair because he was also towards the bottom of my list. Little spoiler alert.
You know what, dude? People are going to start calling this guy part of the exciting whites, if you will.
See, I almost said that. I almost said that for its comp, but I left it blank. I left it blank.
You'll like the comp I have then.
Yeah, that's fair. But faster. I was thinking the other side. That was where I was looking at. We got Dillion Thienemen, safety out of Oregon. He's 6 foot, 201 pounds. Can't knock him a pound. He got 3 years of college with 2 of those being at Purdue. His 40 time was a 4.35 with the 1.52 split.
Say it again. What was that 40 time? What was that 40 time? Say it again.
My man was
that's right, people.
Best of the best.
This dude is 4.3 speed. Yes, sir.
1.52, like I said on that split. We'll say that one again too. Why not? Quicker than some of these linemen, which is a big key point in those first 10 yards. We got 41-inch vert, 10.5 on his broad jump, and 5. I guess that's technically not half. 18 reps on his bench press. We got 39 games played, 306 tackles, 10 tackles for losses, 8 picks, 14 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, 2 sacks.
Let me just start out by saying this, dude. Dillion Thienemen, playmaker. Doesn't matter where you play him in your scheme. He's going to find the football and make plays. He manufactures takeaways without needing the scheme design to do it for him. You know what I mean? Like, he just is going to find ways to make them. And then if you manufacture schemes to put him in spots, of course he's going to make them. But he's just like a luxury item to have for a defensive coordinator. Like, he's going to give you ultimate scheme versatility, shows up everywhere on film in the box, splits it off the edge, playing in the middle of the field or playing in the half of the field. He's like a true Swiss Army knife on defense with his intelligence and speed. Tackling and physicality, he's going to consistently finish tackles at an elite level no matter where he is on the field. He only missed 8% of his tackle attempts in 2025 at Oregon. That makes him like one of the most elite tacklers in the draft.
I have that down. I got
He
solo
plays
tackle machine written down.
Dude plays ball with a physical and competitive fire. I love this kid. I'm going to be honest. I think he's closer to Caleb Downs than the next safety is to either one of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's
yeah, I hear you.
Caleb Downs. The thing that probably separates the two of them, or what makes them different in some ways, is like Thienemen is actually faster than Downs, but I think Downs maybe has even more versatility in some of the things you can ask him to do. Like, you might trust Downs and man coverage like a little bit more right now, a little more fluid in the hips than Thienemen, even though Thienemen's a little faster. But man, I think they're like pretty neck and neck, honestly. So I love this kid. He's freaking awesome. And watching him get to play, like, go from Purdue, where they were just terrible the 2 years he was there, he was awesome, great playmaker for him, but they were just a terrible football team and it didn't matter. Then he goes to Oregon and they win at like a really elite high level, and you could just see like his stuff show up on a bigger stage and get noticed more. So I appreciated that for him.
Let's see. The other thing I have written down, I guess they kind of go hand in hand. I did mention the solo tackle machine. I wrote down downhill. He's always coming up to the ball, meeting them at the point of impact. You know, never letting anyone get by him. And I guess that kind of ties into the speed. Lets you know that he's gonna meet you there and not just like wait for you to come to him.
Yeah.
See, our question for you that we got is, he clearly could play man coverage with his speed, but is he able to do other things in coverage consistently?
Well, I think the thing that you wonder about is the ability to play man, because the speed is there to play man, but like, can he get in and out of breaks? Can he combat receiver stems? Can he do all that stuff to, like, you know, because I think the biggest question would be like, can he be like your slot cover guy? And I just don't think that's necessarily what he's going to be. I think that's what separates him and Caleb Downs. I think Caleb Downs can do that a little bit better than what Thienemen can do right now. I think where you look at Thienemen and you say he's going to be elite is if you say, hey, man, we're committed to being a lot of one high stuff and we're going to let this guy play in the middle of the field. That's where you see most of his plays. I mean, you see him do some stuff around the box, and I mentioned the scheme versatility of being able to do things, and it is the modern NFL, so you do want to be able to kind of rock and roll safeties rather than just pigeonholing one guy as a box safety and one guy as a one high safety. You know, it's the same thing that we talked about with like receivers being inside versus outside guys. You want to be able to have that scheme flexibility, and he can do all that. But when you say where's his greatest value, it's like, let that joker play in the middle of the field and make plays from that sideline to that sideline with his 4.3 speed, because he is elite at that. And he makes plays. I think he's a day one NFL starter at safety who's going to have a little bit of versatility, a roll in the box, a roll over the slot, whatever. But he's going to be at the best when he's in that one high, middle of the field type of role. You're playing, you know, cover one man and letting him be the deep safety, or cover two man and let him play half the field, or cover three and let him be the middle of the field guy. Like, that's where he's going to be at his best. That's why I comped him the Reed Blankenship, but even faster. Because he is that kind of safety. I thought about, you know, of course, all the white safeties come through your mind. So you're like, oh, Reed Blankenship.
Julian,
you know, I know you said like you were thinking the other half, Cooper DeJean. I think Cooper DeJean is a much better man coverage player than this kid. And which is not to say Thienemen can't do it. It's just that I don't think that's going to be his. He's not like Cooper DeJean, Deion Branch style. as far as a safety goes. He's going to be more of that middle of the field playmaker, I think. The other guy that like came to my mind was like Harrison Smith. But yeah, he's even faster than all these guys. That's the funny part. So it's like Reed Blankenship, but like faster, So
Yeah.
I've seen him as high as like sneaking into that back half of the first round, like pick 25 to 32, somewhere in there, but more often like high second round, as low as pick 45. Like I said, I like him a lot more than most people do, I think.
Yeah.
But I think he's a playmaker and he's 4.3 speed, dude. How can you not love that guy as a first round prospect? And he does so much. So I love him. I think people are sleeping on him a little bit, honestly.
Day 2, the Jets have a million picks. I don't know if you know
Well,
that.
they do, and he would be great there. And it's like, you know what? Cooper DeJean slipped to the second round. So NFL teams prove time and again they are dumb. So this is another guy where it'll be another thing where it's like, white safety slips to day 2. Cooper DeJean, white corner / slot corner slips to day 2. And it's like, guess what? Most valuable player on your football team now. Dillion Thienemen is going to be a similar deal, dude. I'm telling you, there's going to be so many teams that go like, why didn't we just draft that guy? It's freaking awesome. Yep, this guy's going to be the same way. He's going to slip to round 2, and he's going to be a day 1 starter, and you're going to be like, wow, why didn't more teams look at him?
Let's see. Early day 2, like I said, Jets have like 2 picks or 3 picks in that range.
The Jets would be great. That would be great. A great get for Aaron Glenn, honestly, for that defense and what he wants to do. Yes,
Bengals
awesome.
are in that list again.
Bengals could be great. I mean, there's a ton of basically a ton of teams could use a Dillion Thienemen in their offense. The team who I thought was like the Bears. The Bears had so much walk out the door at safety. Basically, all 3 of their starting safeties from last year are gone. So I was like, man, this guy would be perfect for Chicago.
Oh, he would be the top range at that 25. Let me see where they come up there. Probably late. Yeah, 57 would be the next time.
They might have to trade up if they want to get him in the second round.
True.
Yeah, I could see Bears though.
Jets. Let's see.
All right.
Next up, we got Akheem Mesidor, edge rusher out of Miami. He's 6'3", 265. Oh, we got 6 years. 2 of those being at West Virginia.
Yeah. Been in the game for a minute. Got a COVID year, redshirt year.
COVID, yeah. You started in COVID. Like, ooh, you get all the time you want. Let's see. 40 time is about a 4'8", bigger guy, so checks out. This is like your typical edge rusher, not like a outside linebacker edge rusher.
Yeah. You're talking about like a 4-3 defensive end, more so. Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. 65 games in that span. 208 tackles. We got 51.5 tackles for loss. 34.5 sacks. 167 pressures, and then 5 forced fumbles.
Mesidor, another guy that if you've been listening, I love, dude. I think Mesidor and Bain, the best pass rushing tandem we've seen in college football in quite some time. And again, no secret, they were coached by a Hall of Famer, Jason Taylor. I think the versatility with Mesidor, he can rush anywhere from a 3 technique all the way out to a wide 9. You saw him condense inside, be an interior pass rusher in some passing situations. Really good. Was able to beat tackles and guards alike. Has kind of a deep bag. Similar to like what we talked about with David Bailey. He shows you an array of moves. Really good in stunt situations, going out to in or in to out. Like, gives you a ton of versatility and room to play on pass rush downs. If you're DC, like you can mess around with people with this cat. Is out to inside dip was sick, really good. His best move is sort of that speed rush out to dip back underneath. Hard angle, really difficult for tackles to manage. Clearly developed a ton under Jason Taylor with, and like I said, a kind of a bag off of that one during his time the last couple years at Miami. He is a guy who improved a ton from like early West Virginia tape to what he did late at Miami in his career. And then the last thing that makes him a fun, like you love him as an every down player, is just big frame, physical edges versus tackles against the run. Excellent job of blowing up blockers at the point of attack and finishing on backs. He maybe isn't quite the high end sort of pass rusher that you see in some of the guys we talked about with like Bailey and his teammate Reuben Bain, but he's definitely going to be an every down kind of player who, worst case scenario, you're like, okay, for a 4-3 team, then maybe he plays 4-3 defensive end on first and second downs because we love him setting edges against the run, and we think his pass rush is good enough to beat tackles against, play action pass and things like that. And then on like third and obvious pass rush situations, maybe we condense him to a 3 technique and we let him rush against guards. Like that's like kind of a worst case scenario. I do think he's a little more scheme dependent than some of these other guys. Like you said, he's going to be more of like a true defensive lineman than he is like an outside linebacker. And that, I mean, you can see that from the 6'3", 265. He's pushing 270. It's going to be tough for him to be like a stand-up outside linebacker type of cat.
Definitely.
I think his teammate Bain probably also projects more 4-3 DN, but like he could probably do a little bit more 3-4 outside linebacker. This cat, if he was in a 3-4, I think is more of a 4 technique than he is like a stand-up outside linebacker. So, I think there's a lot to like about him.
Yeah, so this goes to your out to inside dip. I wrote slippery, kind of just describes perfectly. Get outside, cuts you up inside, and you're just like, how did I not get my hands on this guy? And another thing I saw, he has a good motor, never gives up. He was always chasing the ball. I think that probably a testament to Jason Taylor, because both those dudes were doing that very play till the whistle type people.
Yes.
There was one thing I wanted to say that you brought up, but I already slipped my mind, so I guess it wasn't important. Excuse me. Let's see. So, big question we got for you about Akheem Mesidor is, do you think he'll be able to have some longevity in the NFL, being that he's 24 and has already had multiple foot surgeries through college, which probably is a testament to why he's done 6 years?
I think the easy comp on that is like a guy like Byron Young. The Rams drafted a few years ago. Similar deal. 24 years old, had already had some injuries he had sustained in college. Now Byron Young slipped to the 3rd round, but he's giving you like first round production in his 3 years with the Rams. And so, Mesidor, I think, is an even better prospect than Byron Young was coming out, likely to go higher. And he's going to give the team that drafts him just like a big physical football player who can provide consistent pass rush on the interior or exterior of the D-line. He's going to be an early down edge and probably late down interior pass rusher, like I said. I think he's a little more scheme dependent than some of the other guys we've talked about. Probably needs to be more of a 4-3 defensive end. But, I think he's an every down player, which, you do put a high value on, I guess. I think that the pro comp there is maybe like Zadarius Smith, as far as like big physical edge cat who could set edges. Now, Zadarius Smith, I'm sort of contradicting myself because he did play for a long time as a 3-4 outside linebacker. So, maybe if Mesidor lost a little bit of weight, he could kind of comp there. But like Big Z, just like giant dude who was great pass rusher and also, especially later in his career, moved to the interior and pass rush situations to kind of to win there. So I could see that. Everything I've seen is kind of got a late first round projection for him, like picks 15 to 13 or 15 to 30, somewhere in there. Just because I think him being a little bit older maybe decreases some of the value.
That makes sense.
But I think there's a lot to like with Mesidor. Also, can I just appreciate the name, dude? Mesidor and Bain, like sick.
Yeah, that's sick.
Sick names, sick combo.
I remember what I was gonna say. It was he's more of a very like complimentary type dude, which kind of ties in what you're saying about like the 4-3. If you pair him with someone,
you probably want him as like your number 2. You want him going against right tackles. Like, there's probably some of that for sure.
But being in that range, 15 to 30, the first one that just kind of spoke to me, it says 30. They got the Dolphins with the pick from the Broncos. I think they just lost Chubb, I believe, or one of their rushers up front.
Yeah, that could be a good one. Keep them in Miami.
Don't know who else. Yeah, don't know what other Texans would be cool if, they didn't have 2 good ones already.
You can never have enough.
I guess Eagles are in that range.
the Eagles would not. They could definitely use a pass rusher. That would be a good one for them for sure. They lost Jalen Phillips in free agency. Funny enough, Zadarius Smith was playing for them last year before he retired, mid-year. So, he retired, and then they brought back Brandon Graham. So,
There you go.
all right, last guy that we have to look at today, and then we can get to our rankings here.
All right, next up, we got Arvell Reese. This is your last of the Ohio State University people.
Yeah,
We got edge rusher / linebacker for him. He is 6'4", 241. He was there for 3 years. We got a 40 time of a 4.46 with a 1.58 on that split. 38 games in his college tenure. We got 13 and a half tackles for loss, 7 sacks, 162 pressures, 21 forced fumbles.
All right, so this guy is like one of the hardest to evaluate, in the sense that you don't really know where he's going to play in the NFL. Like, he has legit pass rush ability. Played mostly a traditional linebacker spot while at Ohio State until this last season, where they kind of split him half and half on the edge. And in those limited edge reps, though, he did show legitimate pass rushing chops. Has an explosive first step that really threatens tackles. We've learned when you got that explosive first step, if you can build the arsenal off of that, you can be really good. He hasn't shown the arsenal. That's because he hasn't had a ton of pass rush reps yet, right? Yeah. So that's the thing that you're like, okay, can we see some of that? Obviously, he was a great blitzer from the actual traditional linebacker spots. We saw some of that there too. There's the famous coffee house stunt that he pulled against Texas where they made it look like he was there and then dropped, and then he came back and he got this sack on Arch Manning. Good stuff by Matt Patricia there. The downhill aggression, another thing that I saw, like just speed to get sideline to sideline. It's crazy he and Sonny Styles played linebacker together in the same defense with Caleb Downs behind them. It's like you wonder, like, how did any team ever get a chunk run on them ever? Because these dudes are sick all together in one defense. Shows great instincts just to be a heat-seeking downhill missile. Diagnoses the play. Doesn't take him long to get there. Get the ball carrier on the ground. And then the last thing is just long arms and violent hands. I actually looked up his arm length. They really weren't that long, I guess. It's like kind of average for a linebacker, but it looks on film like he just creates space all the time, creates great extension versus blockers, finds the space to just make tackles. The sheer violence of his hands where he just uses that to create space to let his speed shine is an awesome thing to see from a linebacker, or even if he becomes an edge guy. So, the question here for him is obvious, and it's just going to be like, what position is going to maximize his value, right? And
edge or linebacker.
Yeah, and that's what makes him hard to evaluate. Because if we were just saying he's going all in on being an edge, dude, I might tell you he's the top pick of the draft. Like, he should be the guy who the Jets take with like the real first
right there.
With everyone knowing, hey, the Raiders are taking Mendoza, then the real first pick of the draft is basically the Jets. And if it's like we're going all in on this guy being an edge rusher and we think he's got those traits and this is just where he's going to develop, then I would say you take him at 2 because he's got that kind of stuff. It's just hard to evaluate when you're like, I don't know. I don't know. I see enough on film, but I don't know. Right. So, but the crazy thing is, again, even without knowing for sure what he'll be in the NFL, he's a football player regardless of where he ends up. And that's the thing that you love about him. That's why he's still a top 10 pick no matter what. I imagine we'll see his pass rush potential. And I think some team will value that more than anything else is what my guess is. So, that's what I think he does for the defense that he ends up with.
Yeah, for me, for what I saw, kind of all ties into that downhill aggression, was read and react. You could see him, finding. He was filling the A gap while our guy Sonny Styles over there in coverage. I'll tell you that. Very powerful. Checks out. My guy's got 21 forced fumbles. He's putting his head on that ball, flying out, and then instinctual kind of ties in with that read and react, where you could tell he was once he found what he needed to, he was gone. Let's hear what you got for that. Did you say your comp? I don't know if we did or not. What was
Dude,
it?
yeah, the comp is Micah Parsons. I mean, it's
That's the
like,
true edge rusher right there. Is that what you're
well, and
looking
that's
at?
the thing is like Micah was the same way coming out. You didn't know, and
Huh.
and like the first year, Dallas let him play a little more off ball linebacker, and then in year 2, they kind of just committed to like, we're just gonna make this guy an edge, just let him be a pass rusher, let him just be awesome, and then he became
Yeah.
that, and now he's like one of the best pass rushers in the league. So I think that's why the comp there is what it is, because I think that's what's going to happen with Arvell Reese. But that's a major projection, obviously. So
Yeah.
regardless of what ends up happening, he's a top 10 pick. I mean, he's going to be great no matter what happens. It's just about what's the maximum level and does he reach that?
Yeah. I feel you. Let's see in that range.
All right.
You got
Well,
the Bengals at 10. Potential top half of that.
I mean, I could see him going to the Jets at 2 if they value his
Jets
pass rush the way I do. I could see him going to
pairing with the Myles Garrett down in
yeah,
Cleveland.
in Cleveland. I mean the Bengals that could be good for them. Washington,
I was
you
gonna
wouldn't
say I
hate
feel like
that.
that's sneaky. Don't know what they
Kansas City,
need. I
you
like him
assume
too.
they're going to go offense, but if he was there for Kansas City, they might take him just because it's another movable piece they would have on that defense. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's get to your rankings, Jody. Let's see what you've got on all these cats.
All right. So first on my list, I went Makai Lemon. I believe, like I said, I got comped to Julian Edelman. I think that's a good plug and play. You could you think about it. He made a career out of it. We had Wes Welker. Like though when you get that niche, obviously you don't want to just be stuck there, but like a little smaller cat. I think he's a good you could use that for a solid 8 to 10 years, like easy. If you use him the right way. If you use him like Debo, declines quick, but I don't see that with him the way he was physical and being able to stay up and get out of bounds compared to just taking those blows and letting it wear on you. Next up, I went Mansoor Delane. He looked like he was very, very well getting people shut down out there on the side. I love that. It was, like I said, I got keep to lead for him. I think he could be very good. If he gets a little more beefy, he can end up near that, I believe. Third, I went Reuben Bain. I just think his size, you can't beat that. You can't coach that. And his speed that he pairs with it is crazy. There is a little bit of things I think he clean up, but I just think he's a true monster out there on the field. And then I went Jeremiyah Love. I told you I didn't want to glaze him, so I threw him down a little bit. He's still top 5. I think he's really good. I think it ties back to what we were saying though. He plays running back. Anywhere else that's a surefire dude. It's just in the league, bigger, stronger, faster. Like he might end up being just like every like a Reggie Bush. Like I said, he was good, but it didn't translate all too well. So who knows? Maybe it's to make it outside to get some more production. Fifth, I went David Bailey. Yeah, let me see where's that? Oh, it's right here. Big bag, big tools he could use. Deep, like I said, good motor. Those are two things that one of them was coach, the other one all mental. I think those are very good traits to have. Sixth, I went Jordyn Tyson. Let me find that and remember my notes. At least towards the bottom. Right here. Oh, Mike Evans was smaller. I think good traits to have for a receiver in this group. I think he's sixth overall. Like I said, he'll be solid. Trust me. I just like in the group of people we got, he's sixth. I think he's a little higher, but overall, it's a little tough to gauge when we got like 4 different positions. We haven't done it this way.
Yeah.
Seventh, I went Arvell Reese. This was more so me looking at him as a true linebacker, not the edge. So I think that's like a good sign to have. Where, like I said, he was hitting that A gap hard compared to how I saw Sonny Styles. That's why spoiler alert, he's last on my list. I wasn't a fan, but I didn't know he transitioned to the linebacker, so I feel bad. Uh, Eighth, I went Akheem Mesidor. Like I said, he's more of your typical, like what you think of old school, like the end, a little tougher to gauge in this group of people, but like still a very solid dude. Ninth, I went Carnell Tate. Let me see. Let me get my notes on this one. Oh, could he be Des Bryant? That's what I wrote. I loved his hands and what's it called? And like the way he maneuvered on the field. Tough though when I just see you catching go balls. That me, not a fan. He got to develop some routes. That's what I seen, but still like the hands and the feet all go very well. Definitely can learn the route tree. You know what I mean? And that all mesh very well when you get there. 10th, I went Caleb Downs. I'm not a fan of the way he was playing corner. As you can tell, I had Delane up there compared to him all the way down here. Like, tough for me, but I mean, he does get his tackles. I'll tell you that. It works. And 11th, I got Thienemen. I think it was another one similar to Sonny Styles, where it's like I don't truly know where he's going to be on the field, and that's kind of tough for me to gauge of how I like his play style. You know what I mean? But he does. Hey, I mentioned it. Slow tackle machine. My guy knows how to get people to the ground. I'll tell you that.
All right. Here's what TB's got. Number 1, I got Jeremiyah Love. He's the best football player in this draft. If you're just talking about football players, he's the best one. I don't care what position he plays. I don't care he is the best football player, similar to the way Saquon was the best football player in the draft. He came out. Number 2, Caleb Downs. He can play anywhere you want him to play on your defense. You can run any defensive scheme. He gives you the versatility to do whatever you want. He's going to have a Kyle Hamilton-like impact on the defense he plays in. Number 3, Arvell Reese. If he plays edge, he's the number 1 player in this draft. If he plays linebacker, he's probably right around here because he's just got such ability to get sideline to sideline and still give you some blitzing and pass rushing and some different stuff. If you kind of hybrid him that way, his impact on the game, I think, is going to be high no matter where he plays. Just a sick athlete for the position. Number 4, Reuben Bain. Love his motor. He's going to be an every down player. He's going to impact the game in so many ways. Number 5, Carnell Tate. I think Tate is the best receiver in this draft. He's the best route runner. He can beat you vertically. He can break it off, beat you underneath. He's got great hands. He doesn't drop the ball. Number 6, Jordyn Tyson is really tough. With these two guys, they're close. I think Tate is just a little bit more mature than Tyson is at this point in his game, but I think Tyson has a higher ceiling than Carnell Tate. I just love the physicality he plays the position with. Number 7, David Bailey. He's the best pure pass rusher in this draft. Just need him to be a little bit better against the run, become an every down player and increase his value. But the thing he does probably better than anybody not named Jeremiyah Love in the draft. Number 8, Makai Lemon, sick receiver. I think the reason I have him below the other 2 is I think he's pigeonholed into the slot just a little bit more. So he's going to give you less scheme versatility. But I do love the way he plays the position. He doesn't drop the ball. He is super reliable, and he's great after the catch. Number 9, Mansoor Delane, best corner in the draft. Think as long as he tackles well, he's going to be a 10-year perennial Pro Bowl type guy. Number 10, Dillion Thienemen. Love him more than most. Think he's the second best safety in the draft behind Downs. I think a lot of people are undervaluing what he can bring to a defense. Number 11, Sonny Styles. Sick, rangy linebacker who can play sideline to sideline. Love his speed for the position. Love his size. He's going to be really, really good. And number 12, Akheem Mesidor. Just as far as value goes, he's probably the least valuable of these guys in terms of like his high-end thing isn't as good as everyone else's high-end thing, but he's just going to be consistent. I think he's going to be really good. So I can't really knock him too much. And then my honorable mentions, just guys who just missed out on our 12 here. Francis Mwaga out of the tackle out of Miami. Miami's offensive line was really good. He's going to be the best tackle in the draft, I think. Kenyon Sadiq is a freaky tight end out of
went
Oregon.
nutty at the combine, didn't he?
Yes, he did. And then last but not least, there, Jermod McCoy, my second favorite corner in this draft out of Tennessee. Those guys just missed out for one reason or another, but I think, if you're building a top 15, these guys would be in it. But then our podcast would be over 3 hours long, and we're not trying to do that today. So that's kind of where we're at. I think we'll do one more pod before the draft where we throw in the quarterbacks into these rankings, maybe come up with the top 25, including quarterbacks here. Talk about where if some of these guys could fall, maybe work on a mock draft here for the first at least 15, maybe first round. But Jody, that's kind of where we leave it. I know we like to do a banger of the week to finish this thing out. What you got, Joe?
Ooh, for me this week, I want to say Luke Combs just dropped an album. Don't know if it was this past week or 2 weeks ago. Couldn't tell you specifically, but I'm rolling with that. I'm giving you one of the ones I took a liking to was, where is it? Sleepless in a Hotel Room. He was on Bussin' with the Boys a couple weeks ago, and they were singing that, and it kind of just got stuck in my head. But like, I would say very solid album. I got like 6 of them I just added in my playlist, so go check out that. Solid.
Nice. I ain't got anything more than watch the Lakers, dude. If you want to watch some entertaining hoops right now,
They're on a
Luka's
streak.
the man. Dude, Luka's the man. I haven't seen a player play like this in a Laker uniform, just filling it up since basically Kobe. So, fun guy to root for. Love having him on our team. Outside of that, enjoy March Madness. Get ready for the
Hopefully your
NBA
back
playoffs.
looks okay and not terrible.
The Masters is coming up. Just a great time in sports right now. The NFL draft, the end of next month. We're excited for that. But until then, we got our guy.
Ray taking us out.